The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, the Super Bowl picks against the spread. Oh, I'm sorry, the big game picks against the spread. Don't you come after old Pat Mayo, okay? Copyright infringement law, please don't. You've already taken away the Tim Andercust theme from us for the video version. Not so much the audio version. Probably a good reason to listen to the audio version of the show. While also smashing the like button on the video. You give me a winning score in the comment section for the Super Bowl, or potentially your favorite prop as well. So this week, we're doing half golf, half the big game. So we're going to have the spread pick show today, which you're watching right now or listening to right now, a complete DraftKings showdown for all of the big money that is out there this week, and then a gigantic betting show at the end of the week. Myself, Brad Evans, Geoff Radcliffe, and a bunch of other contributors giving you their best bets. You can put some cash down on the weekend. If you want to put more cash down, go check out the golf shows. Or there is a $100 giveaway, two ways you can get into these draws. And you need to be an audio listener for this one. But on Apple Podcasts, if you subscribe to Daily Fantasy Picks and Bets, The Mix, and leave a 5-star review, something you enjoy about it, just make it up, whatever. Just remember to rate it 5 stars and leave the review 5 stars, along with your Twitter handle or email address. And you do that, then I will find said reviews, and you'll be in a draw for $100. We'll be giving away at least $100 on next Monday's show, and then maybe even more after that. So do it as many times as possible. Subscribe to the new show if you're interested in making money, whether betting or daily fantasy on UFC, NASCAR, esports, European Tour golf. I'll have a one and done pick segment up there as well. It's where the DraftKings Showdown football shows will live during football season going forward as well. It's going to be short. It's going to be to the point, and those are the softest slates out there, the softest betting markets out there. So you might want to do that if you're interested in doing that, or just help support Mayo Media Network. Also, Dogger Pass Podcast is back this week with UFC. Same thing, $100 giveaway for rating and review on Apple Podcasts. To do that, subscribe to it all. Geoff Fienberg is in studio with me. FTN has an entire Super Bowl guide out right now. It's only $20. Chock filled with info. I read over half of it so far. So I feel like I'm ready.
Yeah, I don't know. The big game.
The big game.
I don't know. It's all a little obnoxious.
You have to say the big game so the NFL doesn't sue you.
Is that what they're doing? They're like the Olympics?
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to work at a place where like the Olympics are happening, but you're not even allowed to like use their name. You just gotta like acknowledge things are happening.
It's a bit
corporate overlords.
It's a bit of a different scenario this year. So today on the show, we're going to make our pick. We're going to give out some fun props. The hard and fast, like what you should bet, will be at the end of the week. You know, Stafford gets traded. We got some Watson news. Stock market's going crazy, plus some other stuff. So no one better to talk to than all of this than Tim Andercust.
Tim Andercust.
That is not my name. And I have to first say I'm very heartened by all the people who reached out last week to say, where were you guys? I missed you. My week's not the same without you. Have no fear. I mean, we're only just part of the way through the NFL season, so we have lots of. Oh wait, this is the last show. But nevertheless, that is
actually not true.
Kind words.
We have AFC win totals recap, NFC win totals recap. Those are shows.
I hate those.
Those are fun. Then we get to talk about the teams for next year too.
That's fair. But I do want to say thank you to the people who reached out. It's very touching to hear that throughout this year that you guys have used this show as like a touch point for your week, and sort of it help make sense of things, and that's very gratifying to hear. And I thank you.
I just hear like, hey, good way to kill 5 hours on a Thursday or Wednesday. This show.
Hey guys, I'm in a hurry today. Hey guys, want to see my Herbert cards? 3 hours later, show over.
You know, I'm looking for
you have a $10,000 Herbert card or something now.
Yeah, I don't know. People buy these cards. I just someone showed me a recent sale of one of the cards I own, which felt like a bit of an outlier. But hey, I don't know. Someone must have won money in the stonks and bought themselves a Herbert on the weekend. I'm hoping on
Did you then put it up for $9,500, Geoff? Try to sell it yourself?
You should have.
I probably should. But I think this weekend, Pat, I am going to bring you inside. Like, we're at the final stage of the collection. And I think as he wins that Rookie of the Year Saturday, I am going to like
PME Cribs with Geoff Fienberg and all my Herbert cards.
Yeah, I'm gonna show off what has become of it. It's quite something. I'm looking forward to sharing it with the world on Saturday as we cash the max bet.
Yes, because you see, you've been so cagey about it for weeks. No one's heard anything about these cards for weeks, so we're really excited.
No, a lot has happened since the last display, and I think I want to borrow a friend who actually collects cards. He
sounds pretty cool.
No, I want to borrow one of his stands.
His card stands? You need
Yeah.
an easel? A card easel?
Is that because you got kicked out of the store that you tried to buy the stands from previously?
I don't know. I think so I could properly display them as I go through them. That was incredibly boring. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I disagree.
That's the one thing about the new trend in cards is that it's all really boring. It's all really boring. And I know some people are super into it, but if you're not super into it, it's just the fuck is this all about?
That is totally fair.
Imagine trying to describe, Pat, to your father, either hot shots or these sport cards situations, and them trying to explain what's going on and what's valuable these days.
But my dad would simply be okay, so I guess if you just my dad would be, he's very practical.
Just
what did you pay?
disappointed?
What are they being sold for? That's yeah. Let's be realistic.
Put it this way. My dad disapproves of the colorful shirts I wear on this show, okay? So probably not the best guy to talk to about these things if he doesn't quite understand.
Yeah, my dad would be bored as shit about it.
Just like the viewer so far in this show.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
My
You're
father
right.
was so embarrassed about the Super Bowl show that we did, where we did the NFL combine stuff. And I came back, he's like, "That was shameful. I just want you to know that was shameful."
Well,
And that was what, 3 or 4 years ago today, because it was Monday of Super Bowl.
Yeah, you guys were there.
We were back when we could.
We
go
got to cover the good Super Bowls. We got to go to good, pleasant weather. It was in the single digits Fahrenheit every day.
in
To
Minnesota.
food
The
court of the Mall
reality
of
is,
America.
forgetting the state of the world, I'm certain Pat is thankful he's not being dragged to Tampa Bay this week.
Oh, you better know it.
I know you well enough to
as-
know it's the last place on earth you would want to be, despite how badly you probably want a vacation of any kind at this point.
Listen, I would
Maybe
like
next
to.
year.
I would like to go to Tampa. I just don't want to have to go work 16 hours a day while I'm
Maybe
in
next
Tampa.
year in Los Angeles.
Maybe.
Super Bowl's in LA. The Chargers or Rams are maybe hosting a Super Bowl. The Dave Matthews Band is playing the
Oh
halftime
my
show.
God, Dave! Is that true? Dave Matthews is playing.
No, I'm not. Of course not.
Who is
But just
halftime
I'm
this
trying to
year?
imagine
Is it the
how
weekend?
exciting that would be.
Is it the weekend this
It's
year?
the weekend. Yeah, it is the weekend. But I'm just thinking for Geoff, how excited he'd be if it were Super Bowl Sunday.
Dave
The
Matthews.
Chargers were at home playing the Super Bowl, and Dave Matthews is playing the halftime show.
I haven't listened to Dave Matthews
Or the Rams. We'll talk about that later.
I went to
the Rams have
summer
a real
camp.
chance.
I bet you
17
Dave Matthews
years
was a
ago.
big hit at that summer camp.
Huge.
Dave Matthews fucking sucks.
You got your
The
ball,
worst.
you
The
got
absolute
No, he's not
nut
the
low.
worst.
Okay, maybe he is the nut low though.
Worse than Abracadabra by the Steve Miller Band.
All his
Not
songs
great.
kind
Not
of
a great
sound
song.
the same. And listen, I've admitted it. My first ever email address
Was
I don't want
69 at hotmail.com.
No, it was
resume.
dmband55 at AOL.com.
Oh boy.
I've said that before on here. I'm not proud of it.
You
It's
still-
a low life.
you still
it's
ru-
a low life.
Are you still trying to get some AIM? Is that how you get all your information?
No,
Covertly?
no, but I don't know. What was your first email?
Hotmail, something.
Yeah.
Probably a variant of the same one that I have now. I try to keep them all consistent as we go through time.
Anyway, maybe next year you will be in LA to cover the Super Bowl. You never know.
I hope
There
I'm
are worse
not.
places to
I
cover it.
really hope I'm not.
There are worse cities to cover a Super Bowl.
I don't want to fucking cover the Super Bowl. I fucking hate going to places. I hate
Next
it
year,
so much.
they're going to send you to San
So do
Diego
I.
to do the Farmers, and then they'll make you stay out west to do the Super Bowl.
I would like to go on location for golf. That seems like a lot of fun. Radio Row was fun. I'm glad I got to experience all once. People can go back and watch.
You never
want
to do it again.
I agree.
It was basically, remember when Sideshow Bob stole the nuclear weapon and got rid of TV, but Krusty got to go on air for 14 hours unfiltered a day. They basically just put a camera on me live for like 8 straight hours. Be like, fill the time. It was like,
It was very grueling for Patrick. I was there in person and saw it, and I could not believe.
Yeah, but you got to go on breaks to the food court.
It's
like 6
Scorpion
times
and
a day.
Battery. They light.
Oh yeah, I got to take breaks.
You got to
got to go
visit the
interview
7
Louis.
lids in the Mall of America.
Yeah, you got to go interview Louis Anderson. And
got to go
I
for
know it's
mall
something.
walks.
I know it's really strange to complain about, but after like 3 hours, like all I want to go is for a fucking cigarette, and it's like minus a million outside. Just like this is the worst. This is the absolute worst.
I also used to love the green room. I mean, this is now incredibly inside baseball, but the NFL media green room was great because, like, if you got there at the right time when the meals were coming up, and by like Wednesday, I had the times down pat, so I knew when and how to get there on time to get like the good meals. It was the food there was great. There was as much of it as you wanted, as much DC and other sodas as you wanted. As much stuff as it was like the media room was huge with the computer. Like there was lots of room for like people to write and do work on their computers, but then there was a separate room, like a lounge, for those of us who. I mean, I wasn't there.
No wonder those media guys are pigs at the trough. Hey, Tim,
it is. No, it's pretty incredible to walk into because I was like on air.
And they like demand it. These veteran media guys.
Oh
like,
my
they've
God!
got standards.
And people
now.
were very demanding when I was in there. I was so grateful.
Yeah.
I was grateful to be there. These guys were complaining about, I think this pulled pork is too stringy. Do you have any of this crap? I was like, what are you talking about, man? I'm getting this for free.
I asked for an abalone sandwich.
Oh, yeah. It was one guy. I won't forget it. So they had French yogurt there, and the guy was irate that they didn't have Greek yogurt. I'm not eating this crap. I didn't come all the way from wherever to Minneapolis to eat this. I was like, geez, man, I'll eat 2 then. Like, this place is great. I love the end. I felt like I was very privileged to be there. I'll probably never get to go again. I was making the most of the opportunity. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's
Tim's
good
putting
stuff.
pretzels in his pockets.
Remember
That
we
is
showed
good
up and they
stuff.
had those donuts, and they were Brady donuts and Wentz donuts, and it made no sense to us why they would have Wentz
And
donuts there.
then people were like triggered that they were like Wentz numbered donuts and not Foles numbered donuts, and like who
Well, we
cares?
were
It's a fucking
confused, too.
donut. Yeah, sure, but like people were like mad about it. Like who cares? The fucking donuts.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I bet you there isn't a media green room this time in Tampa, and I feel bad for the people. I mean, I guess no one's really covered. I don't think there's a Radio Row, right?
I don't
No,
believe
there's
so. No.
nothing.
I think there's like limited media,
Limited.
but I'm not
Media
sure.
No,
night
but
was
the
the
players
busiest.
aren't
I
even
thought
flying
actually
out. They're
media
flying
night-
out like a normal day.
Yeah, I saw Brady
Yeah.
doing like his Zoom interviews.
You know,
Like, as tough as the 8 hours a day on camera were for you, I thought what they put you through at media night was the hardest.
we will.
Yeah, that was me
We were
and you.
running.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
that
were
was a
running for-
legitimate workout.
There's something I'm going to say right now, and you just say if you want to address this later in the program. Part of me feels that the spectacle of the game being in Tampa, like Tampa's going to be in their home stadium, but if anything, it's going to feel so weird, like nothing like their stadium at all. And to take an incredibly like corny analogy, I remember when the bubble hockey was played here in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre, the first reaction from the Leafs players after the few games was like, there's nothing weirder than like being in your building that isn't your building.
Right.
That's all. I don't know. Well, we can maybe address that when we really break.
Well,
this
is it
like,
going
I
to be-
loved media night.
But is it
But
going
I-
to be
like-
any different than
They-
what they played all year?
They
in this,
might
like-
not even be in their home locker room.
No, they
Like-
are. The NFC's
oh.
the home team, so
They're
they have
very
lots of-
lucky for that because that would be real. I'm so corny to think that's like a weird thing.
Yeah, but I don't think it's weird because they played this way all year. That they're used to everything that's going on with like an empty stadium and like no one around.
I'm not even talking about the stadium. I'm saying like the ambiance of the stadium. Like
I think it's
all-
good for the Bucks because
Well-
outside of like Gronk and Brady, none of them have been to a Super Bowl before, and the distractions of Super Bowl week
Agreed.
would be far more affecting than they would be for the Chiefs, who just went through this spectacle last year. So not having media night, which is tons of fun, but also nonsense. Like, you know, we had Donnie Jones singing some God knows what song to us, and the offensive lineman laughing
It's
and
stupid.
joking
It's
with
like
them.
guys in a dress
Like,
trying to
it was
get a
clearly-
question in, right?
It was clearly, I don't know, it's all spectacle, which is great. And then it was really cool to go to St. Paul. They had good food. Speaking of the green room at the
That's how
media
Tim-
night.
This is his third food
Tim
reference
doesn't-
of Minnesota.
Tim so rarely goes to places where they offer free food that he's just so overwhelmed by the entire experience.
They had these chicken tenders, which were so good, and like a homemade plum sauce. Anyway, it's what I remember the
I
most.
very
about.
much doubt it was a homemade plum sauce, Tim.
I asked. The card said homemade plum sauce. I'm pretty
I'm sure it wasn't.
That
all
was
I
our
remember
only
is
time to go.
Damashek
That's what I
was-
remember about St. Paul. That's
Dan-
what I know about St. Paul. They
I
make
w-
great chicken tenders.
I was on the floor there, and Damashek was there with the NFL Network. And we worked out a baseball for basketball trade for a League of Leagues fantasy team, where we were just standing there doing nothing for like the 5 minutes that we had to do that. That was fun. And
You
JB,
couldn't get near any of the good people either. That's a
well,
myth.
you could
can't
if you
get
were
near
someone. If you were us, we couldn't get near the good people. So you had
We
to,
got near
you,
like
you
we
cursed
got
poor
that-
Steven Goskowski. His career has been the shits ever since.
So are you trying to jinx us or help us?
Listen, that's the whole point.
We're not trying to jinx you whatsoever.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I don't agree with that statement. He just had a bad night. What can I say? And Alshon wouldn't shake my hand.
And he
we
caught
got
two
to meet, like
touchdowns.
guys. The guys we got to talk to were guys who never get spoken to and really appreciated being spoken to, which is what I thought was really cool about that part of the experience.
Nothing is better though, and like you've produced some of these like field segments before. That when you're out there, it's like the talent is out there. There's a cameraman. There's like a field producer who's putting everything together, like instructing you on what to do, even if they're giving very poor instruction on it. And then they take the viz and they go package something, and like it comes out a bit later. So we're interviewing these offensive linemen, and they have these like series of questions they want me to ask. And like, as Tim can attest to, they were not the greatest questions in the world. And then
They're not the ones I would have asked.
then they started mislabeling the people on the chyrons, and everyone started yelling at me. Like I'm the one fucking putting the chyrons on these videos while I'm out there walking. So it was not.
Was Paul producing some of those videos too from on site?
Paul
Like
was
in
taking
Toronto
them and-
while we were there.
Paul was taking the live stream and cutting them, I believe, Paul, and then putting them up on the audio feed and like into their individual segments, weren't you?
That is correct.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, and the
We were
hotel we stayed
flooding-
at had a great breakfast too. Speaking of food, it had this great all-you-can-eat, not continental breakfast, but like a hot meal breakfast.
really bad.
Like you can make your own waffles in the waffle iron. It was so good.
We decided we were going to the Super Bowl a lot later than most other media places, so there was only so many places left to stay. Put it that way.
Yeah, but there was a shuttle that came constantly.
Tim
to take
doesn't
you
get
to
out
back and
much.
forth.
Yeah, Tim thinks this
Like-
is just great. Just like the
A
fucking place he booked us in
continental-
Charlotte.
I'm not gonna besmirch it. I know exactly what it is, and the fact that he
And it was attached to an Outback, and we went there once too, and
We
that was
did, but
great.
It was not great. It's like rubber stamp.
Anyway, the food at a Super Bowl is amazing. That was my experience.
Okay. The biggest thing for me this year, and I don't know if this is going to be a universal thing because it really depends on where you live and how you're going to experience this, but for a lot of people who are impacted by it, ourselves included, I have done the same thing on the Super Bowl for I think the past 7 years.
Yeah,
Now, I've changed up the places because the place I used to go to moved, so I started going to the new location. But I always get a reserve table. Sound closest to me, the biggest screen possible. Basically eat the same thing, and I get like blackout drunk and forget the game because it's like really the first
Quarters?
time. It's really we haven't done quarters in ages, but the betting play-by-play with quarters, just chucking them around, bet on whatever the next penalty is, and scoop the pot.
It's so much fun.
Always a fun time. That's a better like house game type party. But obviously restaurants aren't open where I'm at, so I can't go out for the Super Bowl. We're still doing our bubble thing where we live, and you can't have like you can't have anyone over where we're at. Where Tim's at, what is it, 5 people now?
10.
So 10. So you guys can actually like have a legitimate party.
It certainly will be smaller than the last couple of years Super Bowls where we had like 25 to plus people hanging out for a full day. So it's still pared back, to be sure.
And I guess like I'm going to be watching it at home with my wife and my 2 kids. And this is usually, like I said, like I usually just go full out on Super Bowl because it's the end of football season. Like I've put in 21 straight weeks of pretty hard work. I can blow off some steam. Like I said, I always end up forgetting what happens anyway because I'm losing so much money. But I don't know. What are people doing for the Super Bowl? Like, are they just getting together anyway? Is that the move?
I wonder if the ratings will be incredibly high because of it.
I doubt it.
No one's got anything to
There's-
do but watch TV,
Yeah,
and
but
there's
it's
really
not-
no reason.
It's not like people weren't watching the Super Bowl anyway.
No, he's saying like the
No,
amount
but
of
there were at least
households as opposed to like 7 groups in one household.
No, but I believe that's factored into the Nielsen ratings anyway.
Probably. I don't know. This is going to be weird. Like you, at least probably over 10, 12, 15 years. Same thing, same place, same house, same host whose life is, I don't know, guy's the best host. So I don't know. This sucks.
Just get some of your favorite barbecue, Geoff.
But
and,
I
hang
also
out,
don't
watch the Super Bowl.
mind, as I've said before, I don't know. This is just like the cherry on top of football. Football season ended. I don't have a future here. I want the Chiefs to win because I want their tummies full.
Let's get into the game then. Kansas City Chiefs favored by 3 points on DraftKings Sportsbook. It's minus 117 to lay the -3. The Bucks are +3. It's minus 105 to bet the +3. The money line minus 162. So bet $162 to win 100 on the Chiefs. Plus 143 for the Bucks. Bet $100, win 143 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's funny because this show takes us 3 hours to do as we go through 16 games every single week, but this game is going to be dissected. I think it's more fun to bet the stupid props on this. Like, am I really going to I feel like every time that I try to lay down the hammer on the Super Bowl, the last time it really worked out for me was Green Bay over Pittsburgh. I just hit every bet that Super Bowl. Even just Rodgers MVP, let's do it.
Jordy Nelson first
Touchdown. It was glorious.
It was a orgasmic evening. I was at a bar. I spent the first part of I had to be at a point in my life where I didn't have free reign and I had to do what a boss wanted me to do. I had to spend like the pregame and maybe the very beginning of a game at like a bar on a work assignment. But there's a video I got to find of Cam at like a Mississauga, Ontario establishment during the Super Bowl. And he is just cutting up that place for 4 hours. And yeah, he hit every bet that night. It was amazing. That Steeler-Packer game. I win bet on golf and I lose it on the football all the time.
I feel like the most that you and I both got taken was the Denver-Carolina Super Bowl.
I was going to say that was my best Super Bowl in a long time because I was heavy on Denver. I thought they'd win the game outright, cover the number. Thought a defensive player would win MVP. Like a lot of things went right for me in that Super Bowl.
And we just loved Cam so much. He won us so much money that year. We were just in on Carolina. I had a good Rams-Patriots Super Bowl too. My big bets were all on under across the board.
That game was a game played to my liking.
It wasn't even like it was a good defensive game. It was just a bad game. It was boring. Like there's a difference between bad football and good defense.
I liked it.
That game was just bad football. This game, though, I'm taking the Chiefs. Like, I don't see any reason why the Chiefs don't win. The Chiefs have the better players. The Chiefs are the better team. That doesn't mean they're going to win. The over-under is 56.5, which seems really high for this game, but
yeah, it'll come. It's already come down. It opened a point heavier than that, and all the sharp money came in on the Bucks, and all the sharp money came in on the under. And
where did you see that come from? I'm curious.
I have been paying attention
to
this
who?
week.
Just tell me.
I've been listening to various podcasts.
Okay.
I've been reading various forums.
Okay. So you're just saying this.
You
have
this
no
is true.
evidence of this whatsoever.
No, it's true. I think Warren Sharp talked about it this week. Was that all the money came in on the Bucks, all the money came in on the under, and that moved them in that direction. I mean, and that's sort of the way I look at it too. I kind of like the Bucks and the under. I think the Bucks are a really bad matchup for the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs I think would have been far better suited to play Green Bay than Tampa. And you'll see it in my props. Like I look at this, they played 2 weeks ago, and I've rewatched parts of that game from week 12, week 13. And while the Chiefs only won by 3, the Bucks scored a late touchdown to make it look closer. But it's clear to me there's a formula there for the Bucks. You double cover Hill. You have 2 of the fastest and best linebackers in football. They'll neutralize Kelsey, and you compel the Chiefs to beat you with somebody else. And the Bucks are one of the few teams in football that have the weapons to match the Chiefs shot for shot for shot. If it's a shootout, Tampa Bay is not at a disadvantage. So I actually don't think that this is a great matchup for the Chiefs. It's -3. I think it'll probably be -3 even money come the Super Bowl. I don't see big money coming in on the Chiefs. I think it all
that's
comes in on
not
the
true
Bucks.
whatsoever. If
It already has come in heavy
if
on the
anything,
Bucks.
it'll go back up to 3.5.
I don't know that it will. And
That's what I mean.
books-
I just told you that it's -3, -117, +3, 105. That's what
I
they
know.
do
I'm
before they
telling
move
you.
the number to 3.5.
Come Sunday afternoon, I think it'll be Chiefs even minus 3 even money. All the money's going to come in on Tampa. The books are going to need the Chiefs for their lungs in a lot of ways.
That's actually not true because every casual
It is
person will.
100%.
It's not, Tim, because you don't know what
The
if
longs
for no other
are
reason,
the
they-
books
this
are
is the-
screwed
this
on
is not a-
longs. They're losing on Chiefs and Bucks futures.
Futures.
Those are the two most popular futures.
And
Period. Those
all
are the
huge
two
bets
most.
came in on the Bucks. So
but it doesn't
I think
matter. The Super Bowl is the
sharp
one.
and
The
square side
Super
are gonna be
Bowl
different.
is one of the one places where the sharp money and the big bets don't really matter because it's all mitigated because everyone bets on the Super Bowl.
I think the
it
sharp
was ju-
and
it was
square side is
exactly.
Tampa.
I do not think that the square side is.
I think a person has all their work cut out for them to play the Chiefs in this game. I feel really good about the Bucks in this game. I really do.
So I feel better about the Chiefs already. And I know Geoff has already bet the Chiefs.
I bet the Chiefs after the games in the championship. I thought minus 165 would be as good as it gets. Obviously, there's now a minus 162. I'm not
How many
overly.
games in the last 3 months have the Chiefs covered?
I don't care. To me, they've
One
been playing.
last time they played.
To me,
Yeah.
they
one
literally played possum after. I said it all year. After that Baltimore game on Monday and on like week 3. They were not stopped, and they played possum with the entire league.
It went 14-2.
And I personally believe they've played 2 playoff games, and they've got like half a playbook they haven't even had to unload yet because both those games, the Bills game was over quickly, early in the second half, and the playbook completely goes away once Mahomes leaves the game. So to me, there's a whole collection they still got there. I do agree with Tim. Tampa has like a defensive line that can make something happen, and they have
Fisher is tough,
and they have. The offensive weapons that can throw some shots and make it competitive. I'm not betting against Mahomes. But I've got some pro Tampa props, and I even have a prop suggestion for Tampa on an MVP side that could be a bit of a surprise because I do see a path to what Tim is talking about, and I could make the case that Green Bay might have been a better draw for the Chiefs, but I don't think it matters. I just don't think it matters. Have you seen the drive charts in the playoffs for the Chiefs? Like, they don't get stopped. And I don't think Tampa's going to stop them. And I got a lot of respect for players on Tampa, but I don't know. And the other part of it is, it could be like, whoa, Fienberg cheering for a division rival in the Super Bowl. 1, they're the better team, so I think it's a good bet. And 2, at this point, I'm like resigned to hoping that their tummies can get a little full winning back to back. But Andy Reid's had a full tummy for a long time. So I don't know that that's going to stop them from wanting 3.
To correct on what Tim was saying about the overwhelming amount of like big bets coming in on Tampa Bay, it's a lot like when you look at the line, sometimes how it moves. All of the biggest bets on the Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight came in on Floyd Mayweather. But what happened? All the public it was such a publicly bet spectacle that there was enough of the small bets that it just evened itself out. And no matter who won, they just took the juice. And like you said, they're going to have to make it back somewhere with all these futures out there on both teams. It would probably lead me to believe that the books want Kansas City to win because those Bucks futures are larger than the Chiefs futures.
Yes, and I think they're earlier. But I don't. How do I put this to go against what Tim wants to say? I don't think the Bucks are going to be public. I think Mahomes is more public.
I agree. Every single
Brady getting points in the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I think that's the.
But
most
there's
public.
one guy that can offset that in terms of a public market, and it's literally this guy.
And the biggest thing, listen to the.
I'm also seeing where I'm looking 59% Chiefs actions, so that already goes against what you're saying, at least by this place that I'm looking that I trust normally.
Just
Tim.
think back to our group chat that we had with like 11 of our friends, Tim. You're the only single person who's picked the Bucks, and that is probably a good barometer of where like the casual money is going.
And you probably want to be there.
These guys bet. Yeah, I mean, it's probably the right side to be on. I just think that I could see the Chiefs crushing them in this game. I do worry that this is the same mistake I fell into.
Denver, right?
With Bucks versus Green Bay 2 weeks ago when Bakhtiari went down and he wasn't playing, that all of a sudden the Bucks D-line looked amazing and hassled Aaron Rodgers. Without Fisher on the offensive line, can Kansas City make it up? The biggest difference is Kansas City's defenses they shut down Buffalo.
Yeah. They shut them down.
And I do believe that's actually where this game will be decided. Tampa's offense and KC's defense. That to me is the actual interesting part, because I think the Bucks defense have enough weapons. I mean, the Chiefs are going to score 27 to 30 points. I think that you can price that in. But
if that's the case, bet the over.
Can the Buccaneers? Well, but I mean, a 30 to 28 game does barely go over. You're right, but I'm saying like you could see it at 24. I could see the Chiefs losing, and in fact, I think the score of the game
if you think they're going to score 27 to 30 points, and you think that the Bucs are going to win, it's going to hit the over.
I think that's realistic that the Chiefs are going to get to that number. I think, what did I write down as my score? I actually picked overtime. I picked it 27-24 Tampa Bay in overtime.
So that's your pick, 27-24. Geoff, do you have a pick for the winning score?
34-23.
Kansas City?
Yeah, I could see it being under, but that's what I'm going to say.
I'm going to say 42-17 Chiefs. We haven't seen like a rout Super Bowl in a while.
No, that's right. The last route.
Denver, Carolina was a bit of a rout.
Denver, Seattle.
Denver, Seattle.
No, Denver, Seattle.
Oh, that was
43-8 was the score?
Yeah, 43-8. The Denver game was like a 1-point game into the fourth quarter with Carolina. It was like 15, or it was like 16-14 or something very late. Before 17-16 or something before Cam couldn't be bothered to dive on that fumble. It was a close game for the most part, closer than it should have been. Denver scored late.
That I don't want to take anything away. That NFC Championship game, Brady threw those picks, and that defensive line with two safeties out on Tampa forced back-to-back 3-and-outs of Aaron Rodgers. That is where that game is won. That was the performance of that game.
I'm glad you mentioned
to me
championship games, because I think the Chiefs' performance against the Bills is a cautionary tale. The way the Cardinals got destroyed by the Panthers in the NFC Championship game drove a lot of people to say, how could the Panthers possibly lose? This is by far the best team in football. We see that a lot, where teams that look amazing in championship week show up to the Super Bowl and don't have it. The 49ers killed Green Bay. They could barely get 20 points. Obviously, a few years ago, the Vikings got shut out by the Giants. The Giants scored a kickoff touchdown, and that was it in the Super Bowl. So don't get too hyped about the playoff game you just saw.
No one is. I'm getting hyped about the 2.5 freaking years I've seen of this Chiefs team. Andy Reid with extra time. I don't think past history doesn't mean anything to me with this 15 on Kansas City involved.
Yeah, he's the best player.
Mahomes is amazing.
So that's why I'm just betting on that.
But Brady
I'm betting
with
on
points
that.
in the Super Bowl, I'm taking that.
That's fair.
He's got the weapons.
If Tampa wins, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I just worry that Brady hasn't looked very good in the playoffs.
I don't know how they won. Listen, I cannot believe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what LaFleur was doing. I don't know what goddamn Sean Payton was doing. I feel like an idiot now trying to like take anything away from Tampa, but I don't know how the F they won those games. I guess the defense.
Yeah, this is because Tom Brady is not only is he the most successful quarterback ever, he's also the luckiest quarterback ever. That can't be ruled out. This is an incredibly lucky person who just sits on a horseshoe. And if you don't think that can happen again, it totally can happen again.
No, I don't think. I'm certainly aware it can happen again.
I've been watching that for 20 years. And my 20 years of watching that overrides my 2.5 years of what I've seen from Mahomes, who, as I've long said, is the best quarterback I think I've ever seen play football. But that doesn't mean he's going to win this game.
I don't know. I'm making here's the thing. I was just one of these believers that the Chiefs lollygagged through so much of the season knowing how great they were. So I'm not putting any stock into
and listen, you built your brand this year on being anti-Tampa, so I respect you going down with the ship. I respect it.
I've acknowledged that and I've owned that, but I don't know. If I thought Tampa was the side to bet here, I would. I'm just betting the best player alive. And if Brady gets me in the big game, that I'm not surprised.
Well, that's what makes this game great. I mean, I know it sounds like talk radio, but the best player alive against the best player ever.
This is the biggest game Patrick Mahomes might ever play.
Well, it's huge.
I agree.
It's
I don't
huge
think
because it's against.
Well, it's huge for legacy purposes too, because
yes,
it could, for whatever reason, which is just completely untrue by any means, but because Brady beat Rodgers in the NFC Championship game, it's like, well, it's settled. Brady is the best quarterback ever. He was the best quarterback ever before that game. Agreed. I don't see how like that win really just pushed him over the edge.
Correct.
But if there's anyone who's out there right now that could potentially, and I don't think anyone can ever get to the just counting numbers in the playoffs in Super Bowl appearances that he has. The one guy alive right now who can do it is the guy on the other side of the field. So if Mahomes wins this game, it gets him to 2 very quickly. It makes him undefeated in Super Bowls, which if he ends up with like 5, let's say he ends up with like 4 Super Bowl wins.
Yeah, like a Montana perfect Super Bowl record, right?
Oh, okay. He never lost in the Super Bowl like Brady. It was 4 losses in the
It's
Super
like
Bowl.
Jordan's got his rings and LeBron will have his with like 4 losses. Like the championship
so you have like that narrative to play to now. But if Brady beats Mahomes, there's no chance ever for Mahomes. Like it's over.
No, it forecloses any opportunity
Mahomes
ever
could go
had.
on, be a 4-time Super Bowl champion. It
won't matter.
Yeah, the
Right. This is the biggest game Mahomes is ever going to play in his life.
I'm so excited. Maybe this is a great game to be watching alone.
Well,
Like,
you need to get yourself ready
This is
to
the
watch
best-
this game alone because you're going to be watching next year's Super Bowl alone when Herbert's in the Super Bowl because you can't watch that with people.
I'll be there.
I told my friends both in 2010 and 11 that if the Jets won that title game, I would not be joining them for the Super Bowl.
So you cursed it.
Oh,
I just couldn't. I'd
I'm
have to watch it
offended.
alone.
People that like, if you're a hardcore fan of a team, to me,
can't
like
be in public.
your Super Bowl setup situation, I will rate and determine just how much you like the team.
Oh, you know what I'm going to do for extra?
Like
Super-
I'm snobby like that. If you're watching the Super Bowl beside like Ryan's wife, you don't give a fuck about your team.
You know what I'm going to do for the people out there because it's one of my favorite shows of all time? I'm going to repurpose the DFS menu show
Great
that
show.
I did with Cam on Super
that's a
Bowl
great
food.
show.
That's a fun one.
Ask
I'm going
Gabe.
to repurpose that this week, so check that out on the feed. Maybe I'll even throw it onto the back end of this show for the audio podcast. It'll just be it won't be video, obviously, because I don't own the video to it. I only own the audio to it, but I'll create like a phoner board. I'll chuck that up on the feed too. That's always a fun one every year.
It's a great
even if
one.
you've listened to it, it's worth it.
No, it's worth a rehash. And I want to say this, which is tied but not tied to it.
Antacid rankings.
As I've joked with Cam, like I'll have Tums. I had them at my desk at work. He needs heartburn. Like that's like giving Cam a lifesaver, like a candy. That doesn't solve Cam's heartburn. Cam needs like industrial heartburn medication. But speaking of the Super Bowl and your team in it and like needing to be alone, our boy Morency has told like some sad stories over the year.
No.
But like his retelling of like being alone, watching the Scott Norwood game, like cracks me up every time. And the pain, therefore, after it.
I guarantee that had been me. If the Jets were in the Super Bowl and they lost finally on a last-second field goal, I would cry. There's no doubt in my
Crying?
mind.
Cried week 1
Crying?
at halftime.
I would
Crying's
be
the beginning.
I don't know that I could leave my bed for days.
See, Tim,
I couldn't
this
watch
is-
anything for days.
To Tim's point, this is actually, now maybe this means my life is charmed. But like, I'm so afraid of getting in there and losing because I know how long it took to get there anyway. That like getting there
Yes.
and losing is literally like, you're like, Fienberg, you're a Charger fan, you're a loser. How are you even thinking about getting there, let alone getting there and losing? Getting there and losing is literally like a life nightmare.
See, I get that.
And I
from
know how
Tim.
much it hurt to lose in the title games. I assume it has to hurt twice as much.
Because
I-
the
I-
next time
I-
they
I-
go,
I get this from Tim, but you have kids. Like, what do you care this much about it? I just don't get
you
that.
don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Like, Tim has nothing
would
else to
feel
glom
like-
onto. He can
No,
glom onto the Jets.
Listen, I find
Remember
it.
when
I
they
think
could
it's
pinpoint
healthy
the
to have
moment?
things to
Yeah.
sort
care
of.
Remember they could
this much
pinpoint-
about?
Yeah.
Remember when Lisa or Bart could pinpoint the moment when Ralph's heart was ripped in two? That's how we would feel if our teams lost in the Super Bowl.
Like I just know the journey to get there and how hard and painful it was, and like,
It may never happen
yeah,
again.
and like
I
you
waited
mean
my
I have
whole
to
life.
like go
What if I don't
back?
get it again?
Got to go back to the start of the game board because I
the
remember
quote
being
that
like
took me-
11 when they.
Nicholson, what if this is as good as it gets? What if I never get back and I never get to the Super
My
Bowl?
dad jokes with me because when they got, I'm a 10, 11-year-old boy, but when they got lambasted by that Hall of Fame 49er team, Lira said, whatever, we'll be back next year.
Never again.
So, yeah.
Was Natron mean?
only got to
Yeah,
one title
Natron
game
means
since.
business, baby. Yeah, went back to one title game where my quarterback had to play it without an ACL. Like, fuck.
You had said that Brady and Gronk are the Super Bowl like vets of this Tampa Bay team. Was Antonio Brown on the last Steelers team?
Yes.
The Antonio
No,
Brown
not in 2009. That was the 2008 season. There's no way.
versus
he was in the.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no. The 2010 season was the year that the
Was
the
Pittsburgh's last
Packers
Super Bowl the
and-
Packers?
No, it was the
Yes.
Cardinals.
No,
No,
the
the
Packers was
Cardinals
after
was
Oh,
that.
was the Packers after that?
Packers
I
was
can't
after
believe
that.
how
There's no way Antonio
Sorry.
Brown was around. I'll look it up.
Tim,
I'll look it
I
up.
can't believe how long ago that Packers-Steelers Super Bowl was. You're right. There's no
Well,
way
you know what?
Brown was in that game. There's
That
no
was
way.
Super Bowl 45. That was Super Bowl 45. This is Super Bowl 55.
This
I
is
feel
Super
something
this-
happened.
I
no, that
feel
was
old.
last
Like
year.
I
Last year
feel
was Super Bowl
old.
live,
I
wasn't it?
feel like extra old because
When
that
people
Super
say
Bowl.
something happened 10 years ago, I think like 2004, not 2011.
Tim, you're right.
Antonio Brown was on that team.
He
He's
would
a
have been a
rookie, had
rookie
to
from
be.
Central Michigan,
Yeah,
6th round.
2010 was his
Okay,
first
yeah.
year.
I cannot. That was 10 years ago when Rodgers was a baby.
How could Rodgers not win 5 Super Bowls? That was the talk.
Listen, there's.
Yeah, never got back.
I
And he
can't-
got to
I can't
several
wait
title
to-
games.
I
It's not
can't
like he never
wait-
had another opportunity.
I
He got
can't
to
wait-
several.
Listen,
title
he's
games.
lucky
Never-
he got that one, or else he's fucking Donovan McNabb.
He
I-
only got to that one because Jake Cutler had to sit out the
True.
whole second
Well,
half.
I don't think they
They
would
played some no name at quarterback, and they still barely beat the Bears on the road.
Who did they bring in? It wasn't Chase Daniel.
McGloin?
No, that Matt McGloin. No, it was fuck. Todd
look it up.
Collins, I want to say. Was it Todd
Yeah,
Collins?
but Todd Collins got hurt in that game, and somebody else played for them.
I'm looking forward to talking about Rodgers when we get there.
Let's see. Second team.
Caleb Haney that had to play.
Caleb Haney.
He was the third stringer who had to come in after the other two QBs got hurt.
Did he win the Super Bowl? Because I guess technically that would have been the 2009 season, right?
Who?
Or was
No,
that
that was the 2010 season. That was in Feb 2011.
Now that I'm thinking about it, because we were talking about when, having that night with Cam and being employed somewhere else, like that makes sense to have been over 10 years ago that I worked at that.
Did everyone have that Jordy Nelson first touchdown prop? Because I had it too.
Me and my friends it was the biggest group hug in the history of our Super Bowl party.
No hugging. 6 feet of distance, please, at your parties.
No, like when you hit a first touchdown, those are hug worthy when I'm with my pals. Last year we hit the Mahomes running. It was like 18 or 20 to 1.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh man, the pile up. The pile up started early.
Should you just blindly bet first score safety in all of these games?
No, but my friend did that one time and it hit, and we laughed at him so hard all afternoon.
It happened twice.
It's happened
the
twice in the
Denver
past
Carolina game.
And Brady did it against the Falcons.
No,
wasn't it?
it happened in the Seattle-Denver game. The first snap of the game went over
That's
Manning's
when
head
it was
for
then.
safety.
Seattle,
And
Denver.
it was the Patriots-Giants game when Brady got called for intentional grounding in the end zone. The year before that, Baltimore and San Francisco ended on a safety.
So first, last score, safety is what we're looking for here.
So yeah, last 3 years there's been safety. Those 3 years there were safeties. I don't know that I can think of any others. I mean, the Buffalo New York Giants game had a safety in it too, but I don't know how many other safeties there's been in Super Bowls.
So, looking back at it right now, so when you can have time to change your prediction right now. I'm going 42-17 Chiefs in this game. So that means I like both. Does that hit the over? Yeah, it does hit the over. I'm probably just going to stay away from the over-under, but I'll bet the -3 along with them. I have to parlay it with some Saudi and waste management golfers. Really juice that up. So you're going 34-23
that.
Kansas City, and Tim is going 27-24 Tampa Bay in overtime.
Yeah, to
Well,
complete my complete season prediction of a Tampa over KC victory.
That would be
Which
very
future
impressive.
do you have going into this game?
No, none. How much could you have got for the Tampa Kansas City? So you got that right to bet them.
It would have
The
maybe
matchup.
been like the favorite, but it still would have paid a lot for the exacta Super
No,
Bowl.
it wasn't. I don't think it was the favorite.
So
It was
Kansas
like
City
14.
versus who was the
New
favorite
Orleans
then?
probably, or Green Bay,
New Orleans,
But it would have
Yeah.
been,
or San Francisco.
but just in the books protecting themselves, it would have been like a short number.
Yeah, it probably would have been like 25-30 to 1. Would be my guess. So those are our picks for that. Do we have some props that we like? Now I'll be doing my
I
full
do.
serious
I got a
prop
couple,
show
yeah.
at the end of the week, but I want to talk to you guys about this stuff. See what we can figure out here. Do you have a first touchdown guy?
We haven't fully broken that down yet.
Do I have to roll with my guy who's won me the most money on first touchdown scored?
Connor Brayton, who?
DeMarcus Robinson?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't even
It's
know what his
sort of-
odds are.
It
but
depends. Like with the Mahomes injury, I feel like the running for the end zone won't happen till the second half if he feels he has to. but I feel like I'm blindly going to go back to the 18 or 20 to 1 that I think they're still posting this year, Pat.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
TD props, first touchdown on Demarcus Robinson. Oh, they've really sucked all the fun out of these first touchdown props. Demarcus Robinson is 22 to 1.
What's Mahomes?
Mahomes, first touchdown, 18 to 1. Anytime touchdown. So he could throw, I mean, they could run a trick play where he catches a touchdown. Who knows? We've seen that in the Super Bowl.
Miller? What's Scotty Miller?
Scotty Miller is 35 to 1 first touchdown. Do you think it's more likely
on that?
Do you think it's more likely that Scotty Miller's is he going to see the field with all the receivers help?
Yes.
Because he hasn't been seeing the field unless someone gets hurt.
Scotty Miller's not getting a touchdown in when it's 2nd and goal from the 7 though. He's going to get the touchdown from 40 yards out.
But I mean, it's a first touchdown. You're just banking on something.
Sure, but I don't like betting that's why I like betting like chunky, corny tight ends for first touchdown. I like guys, that are just there on the field that might be part of the rollout. I'd rather bet Brait. I'd rather bet Brait.
Brait is 22. Gronkowski is 18 for first touchdown.
Gronk scored a touchdown against them last time. Gronk, I don't know. He's a safety blanket. I think that if you think he's going to get the first touchdown is going to be a short one, Gronk's
and find me the last time Kelsey didn't hit his props.
I know it's
because
kind of insane.
I do my show Friday where I gotta give.
And you look at it, it's like 7.5 catches. That seems
like
a lot.
Yeah, I gotta give some love, make a ticket, and I'm all like, it's been a month in a row. Kelsey, I don't care what the fantasy point projection is. Over. I saw it's an 8.5 to plus money on catches. It's probably like 95 yards. I'm sure an anytime touchdown might be minus 200.
An anytime Kelsey touchdown.
150
minus 175
with first touchdown 7 to 1,
6 to 1. The only two players who have minus money to score an anytime touchdown in the Super Bowl are Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. So one of my favorite props is the under 94.5 yards from Kelce's plus 120. Like I said, I think Tampa has two fantastic linebackers who now healthy should be able to more or less neutralize Kelce as much as you can neutralize a player of his caliber. Under 94.5 is the way to play that.
There's no neutralizing him because I saw a clip. No. I'm going to send you a clip. I'm going to post you a clip of the windows that Mahomes leads this guy into. It's uncoverable.
Well, he's going to have to be perfect.
There's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce is the ultimate zone breaker on the planet, Pat. And when we talk about Patrick Mahomes undisputably being the best player alive, in my opinion, the best non-quarterback alive is a tie between Kelce and Donald. And Donald's not in this game. So the Chiefs have the best player alive, best quarterback alive, and best football player alive. I'm betting the Chiefs. One overriding prop question to you, though. Do you just wait this out? Like the sharp guys I know, it sucks to say, and it's not fun. But I said, what are you up to with props? He goes, I'm waiting it out, and I'm playing unders. Because people aren't going to want to bet.
They'll get them juiced up.
We'll get the numbers. Just like I find value in these yards, and people, no one wants to bet a Kelce under, a Hill under, an Evans under. But there probably will be value come Saturday, Sunday on betting some of these guys to the unders.
Yeah, you're going to see some, I don't know. I mean, we'll get to the individual player props in a second, and you're going to see some of this stuff, especially with the Chiefs guys, if the public really wants to. The guy who will bet max like $50 on this game, maybe he'll play a player prop. You'll see like the Kelce over get kind of hammered. And then all of a sudden the plus 8.5 receptions is somehow like minus 170. It's like, oh, okay. First touchdown, throw this out here. Because we haven't seen, I don't know if we've seen it at all this year from him. But the Brady 1-yard sneak, 35 to 1, first touchdown.
Yeah, if they're at the 1, it's
totally live.
I don't mind that one bet.
Brady anytime plus 450.
Don't hate it either.
I've seen him move sideways. But that moves a little sideways.
Other than that, the only...
Like, what's Sammy Watkins? Because he's kind of a forgotten entity behind some of the names there now.
It's Kelce, Hill, Evans, 6 to 1, 6 to 1, 10 to 1. Fournette is plus 1050. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is 12 to 1. The one to maybe bet, like if you want, not necessarily a safe option, but one that's not Kelce or Hill that actually has pretty good odds. Darrell Williams, 13 to 1. I've seen it as 16 to 1 in some spots. Like, there's a chance they just might go to him. Like, betting all your Darrell.
Well, if you like him, getting over 2.5 receptions on him is plus 155.
that's the thing. Like, do we think that Edwards-Helaire is going to be the guy in this game in this backfield? Because I have a feeling it's going to be Williams.
I kind of feel the same way. And I kind of think the Chiefs' path to victory will be to find someone not named Kelsey or Hill to have a massive effect on the game. And so maybe it is Williams. Maybe Williams is that guy.
That's all the hold on. If that's what the Chiefs need to do to win this game, then they're winning the game.
And Sammy Watkins will have 300 yards.
They're literally the one thing
Sammy
I'm
Watkins
certain
was the most important receiver in the last Super Bowl.
And I am certain. I don't disagree with you, but I am certain Andy Reid's got a couple of these guys lined up.
But if I'm Tampa, that's my game plan. I only have so many cards to play. I say I'm doubling Hill, and my linebackers are bracketing Kelsey. And I'm going to make you beat me somewhere.
But you actually can't play defense that way. You realize that, right?
And you actually can't.
No, you can't. You can't double cover Tyreek Hill down the field, then use both linebackers to form a bracket around Kelsey. There's going to be guys literally standing wide open with no one around them for 20 yards.
That is the only way to play.
And this isn't fucking T.O. in the Super Bowl from a few years ago. We're just like, leave him over there.
And some of that
they have the heir to the chip fortune, Byron Pringle, to beat you.
And the formations you see these guys run out. They'll get away from it. I have no doubts.
Here's what I think it all comes down to in this game if you really look at it.
Red zone stops?
We can talk about the defense and how a lack of Fisher on the offensive line could open up some more pressure on Mahomes, and maybe they take him down. Basically play him like Miami did for like the first half and just get hands in his face, and hopefully a few bounces go your way. You get some turnovers. But when it all comes down to it, who do you think has the better game plan and has the nuts for the better call in this game? Andy Reid or Bruce Arians? It's Andy Reid, and it's not even fucking close.
Well,
the Bucs don't even use movement.
It's not close. Andy Reid is a much better coach than Bruce Arians.
The Bucs don't even use like movement at the line of scrimmage.
Brady's like a coach out there who, if he says we're going for it, they're going for it.
Oh, sorry.
Right? Like
you and Pat are, no one's debating who will be more aggressive. I 100% agree that in terms of like Arians is said, like, it's no risk it, no biscuit. But Pat is saying when it comes to no risk it, no biscuit, like who's going to be more prepared for the call, for the moment, for the execution, it's probably Andy Reid.
And I think they're both going to coach very aggressively.
I don't know. When the Bucs are 4th and 3 from the Kansas City 47, what are they doing? They're fucking punting.
They're going to put the game in Tom Brady's hands. That's why they brought him.
Might go for it.
Yeah,
you know what? I don't know what they're going to do. Kansas City's going for it.
Arians is all about the no risk it, no biscuit. And there's no way they deny that this week.
I agree.
The hardest thing is Tampa
You've got to be willing to lose in the second quarter if you're Bruce Arians. You've got to be willing to get your ass kicked and lose this game instead of dragging it to the fourth quarter where you're down 11 with 6 minutes left and thinking, now it's time.
Yeah, you need to step on the throats of Kansas City every chance that you get. Look what the fucking Bills did. Yeah, we'll kick 47 field goals and beat the Chiefs. Every team all year doesn't play them the right way. There's a reason that they could lollygag, not play, even try their hardest and go fucking 14-2. Because teams don't understand what it takes to try to beat them. You need to kill them early, and you need to keep pressing. Because they're just going to come back.
Remember when Lynn punted in overtime on like a 4th and 1?
Yeah.
But they kicked like 3 60-yarders. Whatever. Do you know Justin Herbert has the highest quarterback rating against both of these teams this year?
Well, one, he played them in week 17.
Yes.
When none of their guys were playing.
But I'm sure as we
in the other game, I think he scored 10 points. The one that went to overtime. Wasn't that 10-10 going to overtime?
No. What do you mean?
In week 2?
No.
He didn't play in that game.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. It was his first game.
Yeah, that's
Bryson won the U.S. Open. Herbert.
That's when we found out that like 10 minutes before the game. It's like, oh yeah, someone stabbed Tyra in the lung with a needle. What?
I was watching the U.S. Open. Like I had a big screen and then the small screen and the sound, and I heard like it was Nance and Romo. And I heard like a high-pitched Tony voice, and I ran. Like, no, now you have my attention. I don't care about the golf. I'm seeing your first snaps.
So,
I got another prop I really like before we move off props.
No, let's keep going. We haven't even started on props yet.
Props.
Okay. Okay.
I got a couple team props.
Let's hear yours, Tim.
Well, I like tails for the coin toss. Tails never fails. So I'm playing it.
So in
And,
case people don't realize that Tim's like joking when he says these things, because some people don't know. So no matter where you go, DraftKings Sportsbook is actually being very generous with their VIG on the heads or tails. But there are some places that will give you heads minus 110, tails minus 110, meaning that on your coin flip bet, you need to bet $110 to win 100. At DraftKings Sportsbook, it's actually only minus 103 on each side, which, you know, you could just turn to the person next to you and bet $100 straight up on a coin that you
That's
can flip.
not the commemorative Super Bowl coin, Pat.
If you make this bet, you are the biggest fucking moron on earth. Just straight up. Like you're
Well, but it's obviously out there because people take it year after year
yeah,
after.
Tim, and I tried to explain to you the propensity of fucking moronic people alive.
Okay, but if it wins, who cares? And it's going to win. So take tails because
Okay.
tails never fails.
What else?
But if tails never fails, why wouldn't you just flip the coin next to you and make more money?
Well, that's not the Super Bowl coin.
Who cares? Isn't it about winning money? Isn't that what you just said? It's about what wins?
I'm just saying.
You're saying you don't know how to bet. Thank you. What's
I
another
like
one?
that. I like Jersey, a first touchdown score under 24.5. That brings both quarterbacks into play. It
All
brings
the receivers on Tampa.
It brings Evans into play. It brings
Hill.
Godwin into play. It brings Hill into play. It brings Watkins into play. It brings so anyway, I think that's the play.
You lose Kelsey and
brings
Gronk.
defensive touch, like a safety, or well, maybe not actually.
No, you could get like a 24. What's Honey Badger's number?
22.
Yeah, so you get a few of those. You get a few of those defensive guys. Basically, you
So
take
the under is minus 103. The over is minus 121. I actually think there's quite a bit of value on the under 24.5. So
yeah.
that's
Well, you could. I actually really like this one. So yeah, you have all those receivers on both sides. So basically, you don't have Kelsey, you don't have Brate, you don't have Gronk, and you don't have the running backs. Right?
Yeah, and I think what number Hardman wears?
17.
17. Okay.
So DeMarcus Robinson would not be a part. No, does he wear 11?
Antonio
30,
Brown,
doesn't
you
he?
wouldn't have. Brown wears 83, I think.
Brown
So Brown,
playing?
you wouldn't have.
Brown's playing, right?
I don't think he is.
I think so. Yeah, I think he is. He's in all the props. I think he's
See,
like.
I would
that
rather
doesn't mean
Brown out so Scotty Miller gets more snaps.
and he's
my
under.
opinion.
And anyway, so there's a ton of value with the running QBs and all those receivers at the under 24.5. I actually think that's mispriced. Grab it.
I agree with Tim.
Okay.
I like that one, especially because it is the weaker juice of the side. It's a lot of vig on that one.
I'm sure he's got like 6 more.
Yeah, do you got more?
Yeah. Let's see here. Pass attempts. I like the under for both Brady and Mahomes.
What are they?
39.5 for Brady, 40.5 for Mahomes.
You look
It's
confused.
minus 112 for Brady. That's even over or under is minus 112 either way. It's plus 101 for Mahomes. So I kind of like that play.
Oh, what were you
I-
just looking at, Geoff?
I thought someone knocked on the door. I got tripped out.
Did someone knock on the door, Paul? Yeah. Is there someone outside of our door? No, you go figure that out. So what other props do you like, Tim?
Number of receptions. I like the under on Travis Kelce, which is under 8.5. Now you're laying the juice on this one. It's minus 135. Well, 137, sorry. But I think it's the play. And I also am dubious about how valuable Antonio Brown's going to be in this game. So I like the under 3.5 at minus 112 on Antonio Brown.
That's tough for
as-
me if he's a go.
Yeah.
That's just a stay away for me. I'd be more inclined to bet that over, I think.
And Super Bowl MVP. If the Chiefs win, I think it's going to be Mahomes. But if the Bucks win, I kind of think it won't be Brady.
I got an
And
MVP long shot, and it's on the box.
Therefore, I am going to grab Mike Evans at plus at 30 to 1. And I'm also going to recommend that you grab Godwin at 30 to 1. I feel like if the Bucks win, one of those two receivers will have had an exceptionally good day.
if they have the day,
Edelman,
Brady gets it.
a la Deion Branch had. And like Brady has had 2 receivers win MVPs for him. So that seems quite reasonable. And if he has a game like in the NFC title game where he has 3 or 4 picks, he ain't winning the MVP. So somebody else has got to win it. So
They're not winning the game.
Yeah, if he has
They're
3
not
or 4
even
picks, I
coming
don't
they
think
in.
won
they're
last
gonna
week
win
with
it.
3 picks.
They're not.
Oh yeah,
They won
of
last
course,
week
then you're
with
gonna
3
win every
interceptions.
time.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah. Don't worry. I'm sure Mahomes will dick lick the
No, but I'm
ball
just
like the
saying, if
Packers
he had-
did. Okay,
if
I
he's a little
got.
slot-
Can I give my MVP pick?
Yeah,
and I
MV
haven't even thought about it from the Chiefs. But if the Bucks win this game,
Leonard Fournette.
it's the same thing I said about who I thought deserved credit for when they won the other day in Green Bay. What is the number on JPP?
Yeah, you know me. 70-1.
I think it's just havoc because havoc gets caused. Strip sacks, big moments. I think I have a prop over Buck sacks at 2.5 because I think Mahomes will take a 10-yard loss because he'll just throw for 25 yards the next play. That is a long shot MVP I'm looking at. I think if the Bucks win, it comes on defense, guys.
So I think you can play it the other way. Obviously, Mahomes is minus 106 to win MVP. Brady's plus 210. This feels like it could be a weird Chiefs defensive guy 2-touchdown game, especially if the score,
your score
that's like 2, or even someone like Hardman
like the Carolina
with a return touchdown.
Or who was Seattle? It was like that safety.
Jackson, wasn't it?
No, you're thinking like the last
Malcolm
Tampa.
Brown.
Dexter Jackson was the safety for Tampa. Larry Smith won it for Dallas. That was ages ago.
Larry Brown.
And yeah, we had the safety last time. So you're not
Ray
wrong.
Lewis won it as a defensive
Because
player.
if your score shows up, you're getting those Brady duck butters.
That's the whole. That is the whole thing.
Then you're getting that party where someone gets 2 of them, and that lead.
Then they're the MVP.
Then you have that road.
So who is on the table for that? Is it Tyrann Mathieu?
It's probably the guy we don't know. It's probably the guy whose name I don't know.
Well,
the white guy who knocked out the ball at the goal line versus the Browns.
Sorensen, who just helmet hits everyone.
I like him.
Matthew's tough because it's funny because when we think Brady, we think dink and dunk, Welker, Edelman, James White. But in this offense, it's a vertical offense. So Matthew's probably going to be patrolling the flats. Maybe he'll be on Gronk. I don't know. But
Matthew's not going to be on Gronk. Gronk catches one ball. It'll be an important ball, but he doesn't have the volume to get that attention, in my opinion.
Maybe it wouldn't be Chris Jones.
I do like your thinking. You should just talk to someone who knows the Chiefs well and try to dissect that.
Who's the guy?
I don't know the roster breakdown well enough.
Who's like the third corner who Brady's going to try to pick on but throw a duck instead?
Exactly. I don't know who it is. I don't know the ins and outs of their depth.
I think Hardman is very interesting too, solely because he's such a big play threat that he could score a really long touchdown, and he is a part of their special teams where he returns kickoffs. That if he breaks one of those and he gets like a deep ball thrown to him that he brings down, all of a sudden it's like, oh, here we go. Mecole Hardman, 2 touchdowns and 125 yards receiving. I mean, it's on like 3 catches or something like that. And if Tim's right and they spend all of their attention on someone like Kelsey and someone like Hill, like you just have the fastest dude in the game besides like Scotty Miller, I suppose, who says he can beat Tyreek Hill one-on-one in a race, that you just have him running wind sprints down the field. Like that can work. Or are we just being stupid with this?
You only cover Tyreek Hill if he drops a ball because you can't cover him. You can't cover him. And if you want to send 2 guys to chase him like Tim wants, then as to your point, Pat, Andy Reid's ready for it, and your Hardman, your Watson, somebody is going to break them.
What do you got for props?
So I had that Bucks team sacks over 2.5 plus 115 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Bucks turnovers, Pat, over 1.5 plus 155. Your score needs this bet.
Yes. Yes, it does.
I thought that number was very friendly. I'm not sure what the Brady interception number is because this also brings into fumbles and other guys can turn the ball over, a special teams mismatch. But Bucks over turnovers plus 155. That might be my favorite prop.
So he's basically Brady's going to be Rich Gannon. That's what you think in the Super Bowl.
No, they could happen. No, I think the Chiefs, in an attempt to keep up. I think the defensive line can cause havoc on Mahomes and make some big plays, but I think the Chiefs defense will make some plays too.
L'Jarius Sneed passes concussion protocol, which he has just done, 150-1. Let's go.
Sure.
I just want a long shot. One long shot. Throw $5 on it or something.
You know, this is also the thing. I mean, you talk about, things that work against like these voting awards, it's kind of, you need everything to go your way for it not to be like the chalk.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Edelman was the last non-chalk winner, and that's because the game was 13-3, and he had 5 million catches.
But we've seen enough like defensive players. Like, what did we just name? 3? How many defensive players have won in the past 20 years? 4?
for the last 7 or 8.
Has it been?
Super Bowl 50, Super Bowl 47, and Super Bowl 50.
And I'll tell
That's,
you, I thought if Santonio Holmes didn't make that crazy catch, I thought he took James Harrison's MVP award that day.
Well,
he
but
also
he
had the
also
big play.
he took away Larry Fitzgerald's
Okay,
Super
fair.
Bowl MVP.
Yeah, fair.
But it just it depends on what defensive player that you're betting on. But it happens. Let's say, would it be 5 times in the past 20 years, Tim?
Yes, I believe that's right.
So it happens a quarter of the time. There's not one defensive player. The shortest defensive player on the board is 40 to 1.
And who is it?
It's
Levante David? Who?
No, it's Devin White and Matthew, both 40 to 1.
Yeah, I'd be
on that
curious what. Because I just don't remember. I'd be curious what Von Miller was for Super Bowl 50 because he would have been the prohibitive defensive favorite for MVP and won it. So
MVP from the losing team, 50 to 1. Has that ever happened?
Super Bowl 5 had happened, and it should have happened in Super Bowl 39 when T.O. was clearly the MVP of that game, and they didn't give it to him.
Oh yeah. All right. Got any more props? Or are we good?
No, I'm good.
So we're going to have the big prop check-in towards the end of the week. Me, Brad, and Geoff, plus a lot of the guys from over at FTN. Go to ftndaily.com right now to check out the complete Super Bowl package. Highly suggested. We got more to talk about, though.
I got a lot to say.
Matt Stafford, Tim, traded to the Los Angeles Rams for 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and Jared Goff. I described it as Matthew Stafford got traded for a third-round pick, and then the Rams gave the Lions 2 first-round picks to take the contract of Jared Goff.
But now we know that's not true because tons of teams offered a first rounder for Stafford. So one of those first rounders was for Stafford.
I don't even know if that's true. I think
I've seen no reason to believe it
Those
isn't
are
true.
just stories.
I
Just
believe it
fables.
100%. No, I believe 100%.
You believe every positive Jets Deshaun Watson story, and
Actually,
then
no, quite the opposite.
you
I'm-
don't believe any of the other stories.
Let's do
I
one
quite the
quarterback
opposite
at
now.
a time.
All right,
here.
let's
let's
start
do
with
one
Stafford.
quarterback at a time.
If I'm the 3 of us were just chatting, and Paul, we're a part of our group chat. We're all talking about this the moment it happens. I'm very pro this trade for the Los Angeles Rams. I think that first-round picks can be really overrated, and the point of doing this trade is to win the Super Bowl. Yes, if Stafford gets hurt and you suck and you lose like your 4th overall pick, that really fucking sucks. And that's
Ask the Texans what it's like.
and that's a potential outcome. Yeah, but the Texans did it in the complete stupidest
Yeah.
way possible.
Don't compare.
No,
it's
I
not
know,
fair
but
to
it-
compare the Texans.
It's not, but it could blow up
But
and you're the 3rd pick
I
overall.
will
and
say,
not
like
yours.
the Texans, there is a brazen attitude a little bit happening in the Rams.
Sure, but you trade for a quarterback to put you over the hump because you feel like you have the pieces in place. And like we mentioned all year, and they ended up hitting their over. The reason that we bet the under on the Rams this year, you and I, Tim, picked the over,
Depth.
is the depth. If some of their key guys get hurt, they have fucking no one behind them. But if their guys stay relatively healthy, they're a really good team. And you need to maximize Jalen Ramsey in his prime. You need to maximize Aaron Donald in his prime. You still have an offensive line that can hold its worth a little bit. Cam Akers looks like a real revelation in the backfield with the way that Sean McVay is using him. You have Kupp. You have Woods. You still have Josh Reynolds one more year. Van Jefferson in year 2. Like these next 2 years where Stafford is still under contract, you can't have Jared Goff, the guy that if the guy that we had never heard of wasn't Andrew Kirst and had to go to the hospital in an ambulance, would have been starting in the fucking playoffs over him. You have a real guy now. And I'm not saying that Matt Stafford's a top 5 quarterback in football. He may not even be a top 10 quarterback in football. He's a fringe.
Top 10, Geoff.
He's a fringe top 10. He's a top 16 quarterback in football with a big arm, so his yards per attempt aren't going to be line of scrimmage like Jared Goff. This is what they need to do if they actually want a shot to win the Super Bowl now. Because Goff had his run. It was great. It was all reliant, as we've seen, on McVay being able to change the plays, going up to the line. The league caught up to that, and then all of a sudden Jared Goff wasn't good anymore. So this gives you a real guy. And it gets you out of 4 years of Jared Goff. So by the time the Stafford contract is up, you get your first-round picks back. So, and it's great from the Lions side, too. You get your first 2-round picks. You just paid the dead money on Stafford by trading him. If you cut Goff or trade Goff, there's no more dead money on that.
Yeah, the money isn't their issue. They have a cheap quarterback now
They're still on the hook for the Jared Goff contract.
Yeah, but they can get out of it.
Yes.
Without the penalties that the Rams would have had to endure. I know all this talk that I don't know, the guy's decent in play action, and it's this Dan Campbell, Anthony Lynn, like run the ball, play action.
Okay, Geoff, call off the dogs. Then you don't need to
No,
take
I'm
any more
saying-
shots at poor Anthony.
No, listen, Anthony,
How come Mike Singletary is not a part of this staff? Doesn't he just fit right in?
he should be. I don't know. I have so many takes on this. I totally get it from the Rams' perspective. It's no different, Pat, than when they went into the LA market for the first time. They had to make a move. They traded a lot to acquire Jared Goff. They wanted to make a splash as they had entered the Coliseum. Now, people can laugh at this. There is no like limp dicking around. You're the Los Angeles Rams. That's the thing that they have decided. They're going into this $5 billion stadium next year with fans. Cost $2 billion more than it should have. It was privately funded by Mr. Kroenke. And they gotta be a show. Good or bad, they have to just have a flash. And this gives it to them. But at some point, the tax man is coming because, yeah, first round picks are overrated. But even if you get like a marginal NFL starter and you get that 5-year rookie contract,
Yeah, but they're not playing. But they are not playing for 5 years from now. They are playing for 2 years.
Okay, but at some point,
You're going to be bad. But
gonna
everyone
come due.
sucks in the NFL.
Yeah.
Unless the Patriots for 20 years. Everyone else sucks.
And there's the Rams are lucky they are in a market that doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because the things that have gone on there, if it happened in like Giants or Eagles or Buffalo, like the entire capital to acquire Goff's the pick, draft him, sign him, trade him, the capital to acquire Cooks, sign him, trade him, the Gurley, sign him, dump him. Do they have a serious like in-house talent evaluation problem?
Yes and no. It does seem like when they're signing people, they do have that. But the one thing that I give them a ton of credit for, this isn't an easy move to make.
Not at all.
If you're the Rams, to get
Not
rid
at
of
all.
the number 1 overall pick, who his extension hasn't even fucking kicked in yet, to have the wherewithal to be like, this guy's just, it's a lot like what Arizona did. Not that Cliff Kingsbury's been any good as a head coach. And frankly, I think he's been quite poor. But at least he walked in day one and be like, Jared Rosen isn't the guy. Let's draft Kyler Murray. And
if you make as many mistakes as the Rams make, I guess you get used to noticing the mistakes that you make.
Sure, but having the wherewithal to actually move on and not dig up. There is something
They're
to be
doing
said
a little
as an
digging up, though.
They're doing
They
a little
are doing some digging up, and it costs them dearly.
Sure, but they've paid their way to get out of it. What's better? To have Matt Stafford the next 2 years, will you have a window to win the Super Bowl as your quarterback, or fucking Jared Goff?
100%. And they would, to your
I
point
agree.
that I think you made, Pat, here's the thing. They're in such a better place because if they kept it as is, they still have no depth this year, but it's Jared Goff as their quarterback. Now they don't have that. They still don't have the depth, but it's Matthew Stafford as the quarterback. So I do get it.
And you can cover up a whole lot cap problems, talent-wise, with a good second and third round pick. Very unlikely it's
And
going to
they've
happen.
been good at that.
Much better than their
Underrated.
first round
They have
picks,
been
which they've
good
had
at
none
that.
of.
As someone like close to the scene, I can only hope maybe that losing another block in the coaching tree can hurt them, but good for them. My favorite part about this trade, Pat, we get the end. Take out a hammer, put a nail. Two very lazy football fan narratives die with this trade. Narrative number 1 in Detroit, because it's always two-pronged. When the Lions are great and play well and win, Stafford's great, deserves all the credit. When the Lions are horrible, it's Detroit, the organization's dog shit. When the Rams won recently and had their great performances, all the credit goes to McVay. When the Rams lose and play poorly, nothing to insult McVay, Jared Goff is shit. Jared Goff is the problem. I'm not debating any side of it, but those are both of those teams in their wins and losses have very strong public narratives, and a couple of them are going to die now. So I like that.
Well, one thing on those narratives, my take on it, really, is I think the McVay-Goff thing kind of fleshed itself out as being true.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree. It's hard to disagree.
With the Stafford thing is, each time I believe they presented him twice in 12 years with the top 10 defense, he went like 11-5. And they went to the playoffs.
And when he had a good coach in Jim Caldwell, he played
Tim's boy.
He played well.
And
Yeah.
the weirdest overt narrative that I've heard about Stafford, and it's been brought up a whole bunch, even with just Tim and I's friends, like, oh, Matthew Stafford's such an injury risk. The guy played like every snap for 9 consecutive years.
Yeah,
He's
his
been in the
first
league
two
12
seasons,
years.
he missed a bunch of time.
Yeah,
and
then-
people think that because he missed some time his first 2 seasons, and then last year he missed a ton of time.
Yeah,
I mean,
when you
missed,
said he
like-
was gonna, you said he was gonna win MVP, and then he just
he
died.
was clicking.
He
The guy
died the
was
next week,
clicking.
so that's not really
He was
his fault.
playing great. He was playing the best football of his career last season before he got hurt. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with much
The
of what's been
Rams,
said.
here's the thing.
I think the Lions won the trade, but I get why
Yeah.
the Rams did what they did. I just think it's more risk than reward, likely, because it's very hard to win the Super Bowl and it's much easier to fall flat on your face. However, I get why they did it. I'm just not expecting it to work.
The thing is, to them, being 7-9, 8-8, 9-7 in LA is the same as being 4-12. Like, if you're
Well, yeah,
not
it
good,
is.
you're nothing.
Well,
Right?
It's
Right?
not.
So they're-
but it's not even.
but they
about,
ra-
but it's
they're
not
gonna
even about.
swing out
I
trying to
don't
be
think.
great.
I don't think that they're too concerned about that type of thing. They know that in the NFL, maximum, unless you're like a very outlier type team, that your window is like 3 to 5 years. If you're a good team that has like a legitimate chance to win a Super Bowl around a core, that's your window. We've seen it with Seattle.
Yeah.
Like Seattle had their run, and they've been good all of the other years, but they haven't been like a real threat to
you're
win
right.
the Super Bowl. The Rams are a real threat to win the Super Bowl. This core is probably still together with top, like in their prime type talent.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what Donald looks like in 2 years. It could be broken down. Corners don't have that long of a shelf life. This is your window, and you push all in because that's why you play in the NFL is to win the Super Bowl.
And they're betting, like I say in golf, when I bet a guy that's class with long odds,
Upset.
they're betting on the ceiling performance.
Yes, and what you need to win the
And
Super
if
Bowl.
they don't get the ceiling performance, they're probably effed anyway. Like all of our fit teams you like. Like if the things don't go right with the best players on the teams you think are going to be good,
And you know
depth
what?
or no depth,
You're gonna need a bad call to go your way somewhere along the line. You're gonna need a kicker to hit a fucking upright somewhere
Well,
along
they
the
got
line.
the bad call, right? Weren't they the benefactors
that was
of
2
the
years
Saints?
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they got to the Super Bowl. Yes,
But that's the stuff that unless basically you're the Chiefs, stuff needs to kind of break your
Do you
way.
want to know? I can't lie, and I don't agree with this. I chuckled. Multiple mainstream outlets, whether they were being serious, maybe they were
The
joking,
very crooked mainstream outlets
said the Chargers played a role in the Rams doing this. And I'm like, yeah, man. And Sean McVay's like breakdown of needing to get better at quarterback, significantly better, he thought about the Chargers.
I saw that and I thought, did Geoff write this article?
Yeah,
Jeff
that's
wouldn't
the
agree
cra-
with that though.
Yeah,
That's so ridiculous.
That's literally insane. Now, I do agree that they like want to be flashy in the market, but I don't think an AFC team, like, I don't think the Chargers, they don't even acknowledge we exist, let alone they're worried about like being second fiddle to them. But I found great humor in people thinking like, uh-oh, like here come the Chargers to win the hearts and minds of those LAs.
no, like if you think about like LA sports, it's Lakers,
Dodgers,
Dodgers,
college.
USC. If your team is
UCLA.
good,
Yeah. 100%. If
it's
your
like
team is
UCLA
good.
basketball, USC football,
Yeah.
Lakers. And there's no matter what the Chargers do, even win a fucking Super Bowl, there's no chance that they're not the Clippers of LA.
100%.
Not to say that the Rams are the Lakers, but there's such a built-in, ingrained fan base from them already having been there
Yeah.
that people are going just
And we
to
already
like the
have
Rams
like
more.
a Clipper stank to us, like just
yeah.
as an organization. But as I say to you, to defend that, because they're in LA, when the Clippers are good,
Yeah, you'll
they
have their
play on
fans.
Christmas Day. They're like a face of the league. When they're good, the league puts them on a pedestal. When they're bad, they literally don't exist.
Yes. And that's the difference. And it's going to be the same way with the Rams. Like you'll still see like because of the state, unless the Chargers are good at the same time, they're closer than something like the Lakers and Clippers would be. I want to give a special shout out to the Kings.
Yeah,
are
no,
all right.
they've won championships
Yeah.
and they have their
But they
place.
won championships.
But also the part with LA is like there's so many people in LA. It's like 88% of things are like it might be incredibly popular, but population wise, you're just niche.
Well, it's a
like
lot-
you're just niche.
Put it this way,
even if you are popular,
it's a lot like
still niche.
it's a lot like living in this city. We live in Toronto. It's the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs, Maple Leafs, Maple Leafs. That's what everyone loves. And the Raptors basically sold out every game for like 15 straight years, but they were always kind of like the niche sport. Like they had a lot of fans, a lot
The
of
Blue Jays have got to be much
but the
more popular.
Raptors also sold out games because in their infancy and struggles, they were allowed to piggyback. If you wanted to own premium seats to
had to
the
buy
Leafs, you had to own
But that is-
premium Raptor
right.
tickets. So
But
the
the Blue
only
Jays are
hold
still
on,
more
the
beloved,
only
right?
Raptor tickets available to purchase were like the upper bowl, because everything which fans will want to buy, everything premium was double purchased with Leaf tickets in a force. Now, obviously, Raptor tickets. There was a time here you get more money for Raptor tickets than like a Leafs game.
But my comparison to this is like if when you go to larger cities, so you have like a Kings fan base, and fuck, if you go to like Anaheim, like the Ducks fan base or the
What
Angels
about the
fan base.
Argos fan base in Toronto?
I don't even know if there is one, but like TFC is another good example. Like it's very popular, and you can get away with that in cities that have over like 6 million people.
Yeah.
There's going to be enough people that care about this one thing that it's going to propel them forward. Now, the Raptors win the championship. That's a different story. I'm talking about like regular year Raptors, and they're probably the most popular team in like the city proper of people under 35, I would
Yeah, of
guess.
course.
More so than the Leafs, more so than the Jays, but the suburbs and the older people, Leafs and Jays always. But it would go to the same way. But like it seems like every single person I've ever met from Los Angeles loves the Lakers. That's their one.
Sure.
Everyone can just agree on that. We love the Lakers.
100%.
It's like Boston and the Red Sox. It's the same way.
No,
As
but
good as the Patriots
all,
are,
all of now, but all of the
Boston was always a Red
teams.
Sox town. Yeah, but there are degrees. I've met people from Boston who aren't infatuated with the Patriots. They all love the Red Sox.
Do you think that has the product to do with the stadium being downtown, whereas you have to
In
drive
part,
like 3
sure.
hours to get to fucking Foxborough?
It's all just just ingrained into the culture of the city that it's a Red Sox town. And the Patriots don't play in Boston and never did. Well, they used to, it was a long time ago, but haven't in so long that there's an affinity for them. Like they're not the Red Sox.
And who do you think New York's most popular football team is? I can give you the answer.
Yeah, fair enough. There's
the-
no doubt about that.
It's the Buffalo Bills, the only team that plays in New York.
Yeah, sure.
That's just a
But
fact.
well, it's funny because we were talking
Yeah,
about
I wouldn't dispute that.
we were talking about
The
the
only
Los
team that
Angeles
plays in New
sports scene only because I think it was you who made mention of when the Rams lost the Super Bowl that like no one showed up to see them
There's
come
just
home.
a great viral video of like when the Rams in the Super Bowl and there's like anyway.
And my
Basically the never nudes showed up
and
to cheer the Rams.
And my
Or
point
dozens.
was like people in Los Angeles have things to do, for one thing.
Yeah, when
that's a big component. And why would people in LA go cheer a loser? That's not something they do. Like Paul, I love you. I love my Buffalo fans, but there's a reason that in Buffalo, in minus 84-degree weather, that it's sold out to see the Bills come home from fucking losing a game.
It's such a it's like a thing. You just know the whole town's there when the Bills arrive home after a loss.
Well, I said the city of Montreal would do that for the Habs too, but
To
just
throw
to
rocks
boo
at them.
the team as they walked off the plane for losing.
The Quebecers would show up, but just to like let them know they're
To
disappointed.
jeer as you come off the plane.
And you said when you worked that Leafs preseason thing,
Yeah.
like the Leafs preseason up here is what I assume like Dallas Cowboys training camp is.
Yeah, it's
With just, why are you people here?
yeah, it is a gong show, and some days are open to the practice, and every day, like there's the same people like first in line that must have like slept there.
Are they the
And-
biggest weirdos on earth? Because I was regaling you a story that I experienced. Because sometimes I stay here for Christmas, although both my wife and I's families live in other places. But sometimes we end up getting stuck here. So we went out to a place. Let's say I don't want to throw anyone under the bus in case they're watching here, although they'll know it's them. And we go to this Christmas party, and then all of a sudden, like the party shuts down at 8 p.m. Like what is going on? They had to congregate to go watch the Leafs. I'm like, what the fuck is this? We're at a Christmas party. What's wrong with you people? We left. It was horrible. But like these people exist. Like this is their lives. I don't get it. And like they're like the front of the line people. Put it that way. You're like, oh my God. I bet you they collect
but that's
every.
why I like Montreal fans.
Bet you they
much better
collect
because
fucking
there's a
every lanyard they've ever had.
There's a nastiness to Montreal fans. Like there's no optimism or hope. It's just vitriol.
Is there a American fan base equivalent to Habs fans?
Eagles fans?
Eagles fans would probably be the closest.
Yeah, Eagles fans are probably the closest.
Yeah, they're angry. They just won the Super
They're
Bowl, and
just
they're like
mad.
angry. And a coach that went to a Super Bowl and 3 or 4 years in the playoffs, like there's canned.
Fuck you.
Yeah, probably.
I can't think of another one.
Eagles, Philly might be close.
Yeah.
You want to talk about DeShaun Watson?
Yeah, I do.
So my
Yeah,
my point about what the Texans did and why it cannot be compared to what the Rams have been doing, and maybe because it just turned out this way and they got the good players for it. But when the Rams package picks together, they go and get Jalen Ramsey. Hey, you're the best cornerback at a very important position. You're the best guy. We're going to go get you. Matt Stafford, you're not the best guy, but you play the most important position on the field. You're worth 2 first-round picks. What do the Texans do? They go trade for a left tackle.
A pair of socks. That's like important, but
Important and something that you eventually need. But if you have a good left tackle and the other 4 members of your offensive line are dog shit, it really doesn't make that big of a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm not debating that they executed the trades better, and I don't think the Rams are going to be handing Detroit the 3rd overall pick next year when this is over, because I expect them in the playoffs, and that pick then becomes north of 22.
But this trade with Stafford has no effect on what's happening with DeShaun Watson in terms of the
I agree
capital
with
that you need to give up, because it's just a completely different situation in the way that you need to look at it. And the market, weirdly enough, for Stafford may have been more competitive than the market for Watson, because there's only like 3 teams that can actually get Watson.
It's like what my dad says when we try to go to Cheesecake Factory and it's like an hour and a half to get in. It's like anyone can afford to eat here. But go to like a real fancy place. No, but it's just like, okay, like
That's a really good analogy.
no,
I like
but
that.
he's like we're away, we're on a vacation, and he doesn't like want to wait an hour and a half to eat at some American eatery. But he's like, oh, look at all these people can afford to eat here. Like,
Let's go to the French Laundry.
Yeah, I think it was like I think it was a snobby remark, but he was like, screw this. Like, yeah, it's like when you have premium tickets to like back to the Leafs. If I might have like really lower bowl platinum seats for a game, there's like 2 or 3 people I know I could sell them to. If I got the upper bowls, hundreds of people I know can afford this pair of tickets. So, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that the exact same thing here, kind of?
Yeah, I think so. That there's such a limited market for the teams that have the available capital could absorb giving up what's needed for what the Texans want in order to get Watson, where it was a free for anyone could have had Stafford.
Oh, you had a first
except for the
round pick?
Patriots, apparently.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And that kind of shows maybe the
that
Patricia
made my
stuff.
whole day.
Maybe the Patricia stuff played a role, but we're going to learn over the next couple of years here, Pat. People went to New England to play with Tom, not to play for Bill.
I don't even know about
Yes.
that. I don't even know if they went to go play for Bill or play with Tom. They went there to go collect a Super Bowl ring.
Sure, but I think playing with
Tom is synonymous
playing with
with that.
Tom was
As
better
Tampa
than
is
playing
showing.
for Bill. Like that offset playing for Bill, getting to play with Tom, I think.
And it's nothing. It's almost like the Patrick Reed discussion that we had on the first show when we did golf. If Patrick Reed wasn't a good golfer, the cheating wouldn't be a story, and he'd probably be DQ'd from the tournament. The guy fucking wins all the time. Yeah. Winning cures so much of this.
So much of it is.
You don't see a whole lot of turmoil on winning teams. And they could be the most dysfunctional.
There's turmoil on the Patriots all the time.
And this goes to my point where
footballs, videotaping.
Yeah, but that's all in all the turmoil you're talking about is all in the product of trying to win.
But Pat, Tim, that went to my point on the golf show was like Reed cheating there up 4 strokes on Saturday. That's like when Bill has to tape the Bengals. Like you're the Patriots
because you're addicted to winning.
You're just addicted to it, man.
Well, the Spygate, he was taping the Jets. The Jets were going to be terrible that season, and they were.
So
they were
it's
like
just a
3-13.
personality.
It's Nixon taping the DNC at Watergate when he's going to win 45 states at minimum.
Yeah, but you want to win all 50.
Help himself. And he won 49. But like he didn't need to tap the DNC. He was going to win by 1,000,000 points.
And I am upset.
Some people can't handle it. They're just obsessive.
And I get like they need the clicks. But NFL media jerking off these fan bases like Bears fan thinking they have a shot at Watson is insane to me.
So who has a shot at Watson? The Jets, the Dolphins, and who?
Carolina.
Does Carolina, though?
They're at 7. They could get to like a chance. You said a chance.
Yeah, I just don't get what they have to give up.
Extra picks.
Yeah, but how high is like... Getting the second and third pick, like that's such a big component of this, I think.
I agree.
Is getting the second or third pick to pick the guy who can be your new quarterback.
That's why
draft.
when like 49ers in Chicago are brought up, I'm like, how the F can they get from like 22 to 2? Like it doesn't work like that.
Can I make one confession?
Oakland. wild card team because Gruden would sell some of equity of Mr. Davis.
Oh, absolutely. And the no taxes thing applies in Vegas if people keep on making that case for Florida as well, or the anti-case for somewhere like New Jersey or New York. But I'm going to admit this as someone who professionally covers football for a living. I had no fucking clue who this guy was that they hired as a head coach. I had to look him up.
No idea.
No, me see.
No clue either.
Oh, they hired a ham and egger.
They
hired a ham and egger.
They hired the passing game coordinator of the fucking Ravens. Like, what's going on?
They hired a straight ham and egger here. You can't debate that.
This is Tom Sula 2.0.
But I am.
Like, do they want to make sure that not only do they trade for the second or third pick this year, they want to have the first pick next year too?
I don't like how this has been framed.
Honestly, this Easterby guy is like the caddy that Kramer had, who gives nothing but terrible advice, and then said, you're almost on the green. Let's go for the cup. Have her put on the bra, and it doesn't fit. That's who this Easterby guy is Kramer's caddy. He just has no reason he should have any influence over this team as the chaplain, and yet seems to be pulling every string like Rasputin. It's remarkable.
I'm starting to
You mean
think
Russia's greatest love machine.
Rasputin.
I don't like that the media doesn't talk about
The very crooked media. Yes, Geoff, continue.
Watson's responsibility in this situation.
Watson has no responsibility.
Because they don't want to be dogpiled on Twitter.
All Watson has to say is,
That's
I'm
why.
not fucking playing.
I agree with you,
And I'll
Pat.
sit it.
I agree with you, but you're right, and he has made
If
that.
any writer is seen as attacking a player and not supporting sort of
They're
player
bootlickers.
empowerment, they're going to get attacked by the Red Roses on Twitter who follow sports. You can see it. And do you want that hassle? No, you don't. So you don't tweet it.
Watson has a legitimate gripe to want out and to ask for it. But I fail to believe the organization is dumber today than they were with Bill O'Brien handling GM and coaching duties. He signed the extension after they traded Hopkins. So the dominoes were falling, and it is no secret to anyone in the football world that this Cal McNair is a baboon who's been grown up in sheer nepotism. That's not a secret to people in the NFL. So he signed there.
Yeah, but signing in a place from, I don't want to say personal experience, but it can translate over to other things too. Sometimes your decision making is only as good as your representation.
You're right. And he probably wasn't advised of how badly this can go, or like the money is so big.
You're like, whatever.
And you get advice. You're friends with NBA players. So you're like, no, if it really goes bad, we will figure this out.
And it's
Do you think
shaping
James
up.
Harden being in the same city had any effect on him? Because it was James Harden shooting himself out of Houston that could have encouraged Watson to want to do the same. I just watched some guy across the street do exactly this. I'm as good as he is in my sport. Can't I demand out? Only to find out.
I don't like the NBA comparisons because in the NBA, these
not
usually
an NBA
happen.
comparison. It's a Houston comparison.
Okay, so this works one of two ways. Yes, I think that could be somewhat of a component to it, and to see him get his way in the situation, just the NBA in general, and the entire player empowerment movement, where you can call your shots. I want to play who I want. This is where I want to go, and you're going to trade me, and there's nothing you can really do about it. It's different in basketball, and I'm curious to see if this translates over to football. And I think that the only people that could really ever get away with it would be quarterbacks. Because you trade one guy in basketball to a team who's a superstar, that team's like instantly good. Just because the Jets trade for DeShaun Watson is no guarantee that they don't win more than 3 games next year.
Yeah, look at
Watson just had the best passing season in the NFL, and they went 4-12.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it just doesn't work that way in the NFL.
No,
So-
But the other
It
part
never
of the
could.
NBA aspect is like, and maybe NBA aficionado can throw something at me. In my perception, 99% of the times this happens in the NBA, it is at the end of a rookie deal where they're just like, no, you drafted me. I gave you my time. I'm letting you know I'm not re-signing here. So now there's a year. Like
No.
Kawhi got traded with a year.
But that's not the
Anthony Davis-
Harden situation. Wasn't that?
You're right. Harden's
And
situation
the Kawhi one wasn't
that.
a rookie contract. It was a second contract.
Either way, near the end of the contract then. Rare in the NBA, do guys a year after taking max extensions say I'm leaving after record-breaking extensions? So there.
Kevin Love did,
And
didn't
he asked for a trade or he was traded.
In Minnesota, he wanted out of Minnesota badly.
And LeBron
He still
wanted
had time left.
But they got first,
Well, no,
yeah,
at
and
that
it
point,
worked,
everyone-
and I guess they got first overall, sort of like this situation,
Yeah, they got
where
Wiggins
there's,
back,
Yeah.
you know, they have this draft capital. This is all I want to see from Watson, and you could tell me it's totally unfair. I want him to waive the no trade. I want
No,
him
absolutely
to
not.
go.
That's so fucking
sit him.
stupid. That's so
Then
fucking
sit him.
stupid.
Then fucking sit him. If he's not
They're
going
not. They're not going to
teams
sit him.
will have
He can sit it out. Why would you give up all of your leverage in this situation? That's so fucking.
No, but
moronic.
behind
They
the
don't
scenes,
have
the
to
Texans
trade
are
him.
gonna
We will
compel him.
agree to trade you, but you just have to go to the team we're getting
Fuck
five
that.
first.
I'm going to pick where I want to go.
Then you might not get
No,
traded.
he's going to have to
Okay,
give
then,
a list of
then I
four
will
or five
sit.
not
teams.
Then I will sit out.
Then it's
You'll have to give
50K
a
a
list.
day, 50K a
Sure.
day in training camp, 500K for a preseason game, and probably close to $1 million for a regular season game. Let's see where you're at.
In the end, the player loses all his leverage the longer he waits. In the
If it comes out that he is
gotta
turned
meet them
down
in the middle.
like an incredibly fair package to go to Team X, and he's saying no, he'll become the bad guy.
he's
in
got to
this.
say,
I
they've
don't-
got to meet in the middle and say, give me 6 teams that you will not accept
Yeah,
a trade.
fine, not totally
You-
waive
you
it, but
won't
he's
accept
got to
the trade.
give them some leeway to just get the best. We'll get you out of here. You got to let us get the best deal. That's how this has to
Within some
work.
reason, you tell us teams you absolutely will not accept a trade to, and we'll not talk to those teams.
That is
But-
different. That what Tim is saying
I
is
agree.
different.
That's what I meant then. You just give us something.
But
you can't
tell
can't
me
say
you're
you can't
going-
say
Yeah, but
Miami or
you don't know
Boston.
that he hasn't done that already.
Okay, you're right, and I hope maybe if it's even done.
Because why would you
quietly-
ever make that public?
You're right. Sorry, I just mean in general.
None
Houston-
of this should have been made public as it is. So
Well, that's sort of the reason that maybe no one wants to play in fucking Houston. This organization is trash.
I don't know that the Texans are. You think the Texans are the ones doing the leaking? I don't think they're the ones doing the leaking.
I don't think that the Texans really know what's going on with
No,
anything. it
it's
seems.
Morton Schefter who love it.
But they're getting the leaks from the
Watson
team,
camp. Watson
obviously.
camp. Watson camp.
for sure.
But yeah, if you're running the Texans, you say you give me a list of teams you will never accept a trade to, and then you've got to let me do what I can otherwise. Or I'm not trading you. You're too good. You signed a contract. You don't like it. There are consequences to your actions. It'll cost you a lot of money. And NFL teams are stubborn, and the Texans are erratic, and they don't want to set the precedent that a player can decide to leave when he's under contract, and they just sit on it.
I think that you're
But that-
dealing with a team with weak management, weak ownership, and you can strong arm them. And I think that's what Sean Watson's going to do.
Well, we're about to find out.
Even
I
if
mean,
that requires sitting out a few games, and then the fans are like, "What the fuck is going on?"
We
here?"
we
Not
could
only do
also
we
be
not have a
dealing.
pick-
We could also be dealing with a franchise that is so stupid and so stubborn, and based on
But they
some
don't care.
past comments and business dealings of the late dad. I mean, if there's one organization in the league that might pull that, to me, it's this one. Who's this guy?
I
with
put
the
it on
house?
Twitter, and I stand by it. I plant a flag here. I think that he'll play for the Texans.
You got to stop saying the planting a flag. We know that you're.
I
letting
hope that doesn't happen. I want Watson free. And I hope it's as simple as Watson
too.
being as
But I
Watson's
really don't
agent.
think he's gonna
I
go.
hope it's as simple as Watson's agent just being like Miami or New York, no problems. Send me to one of them. Because to me, that's like the 98% only places he can realistically go. They have the picks, they have the need. As long as I pray I don't hear that someone is offering the moon, the Texans want to accept it, and he is kiboshing it to go to Miami, who wants to be stubborn with what they're going to give up. Because
Well,
that's not fair to Houston.
I don't give a shit what's fair to Houston.
So then they'll make him sit. They don't care what's fair to Watson.
Well, then if he has the guts to go sit out, then that's what maybe the card that he
And
has
if
to
he
play.
wants to
If you-
retire, he's got to return close to $30 million.
Okay. Well, how much money does he already have?
I don't know.
I'm guessing it's a ton. So
$50K a day, that's it's funny that this new CBA thing is in now with the non-refundable fines that could get into the millions and millions if this thing
sure,
goes to war.
but if he gets traded to the Jets, for example, he's going to be losing that much money anyway in taxes. Not if he gets
so
traded
do
to
you
Miami.
want to play? Because if you
I don't
want
know.
to
This
frame
seems
this
like a
thing about
spot where
taxes, he's going to lose. He's going to lose.
Neither party has full leverage. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, but Watson
only has a little leverage.
Yeah,
but
I
the
don't-
team
also, if you're DeShaun Watson, you can't do a lot of the things that you're talking about. You need to be cagey and need to be willing to sit out, because the one thing that always gets left out in a lot of these situations is wherever Watson now goes is where Watson is going to be for a very long time. At least we would think that's going to be the case. So you probably don't want the team that you're going to be giving up 4 first-round picks at the same time. So if you can squeeze the market so the team you go to doesn't have to give up all of their assets, that's only better for you.
I agree, but then he might not get out.
Then he might not get out. That's true.
And the thing
if you're going to try to force your way out, that's the best way for
You're not
personally
wrong.
to play it. If that costs you $3 million, then fuck it, so be it.
And guess what?
You're still getting paid $150 on the back
He'll
end.
make more in sponsorships being in New York. The taxes will
or
work out
going
with
to
one
Miami
thing.
and playing in like a Super Bowl. He's going to make more because then all of
Yeah,
a
of
sudden you're on a
course.
winning team.
Going anywhere and playing in a Super Bowl, he will make more. I guess the only thing I want to say is, in my opinion, I think the leverage that Watson has is being totally overrated. Like Tim said,
Agreed.
I think the Texans have way more leverage here than people are actually willing to give them credit for.
They do, but as you mentioned, the media is framing it in a certain way that no one's ever going to take the Texan side on.
Never.
And that's a part
Until
of
it comes out that he's turned down a trade because of taxes.
Exactly.
No,
if he
I don't
vetoes
even
a
think
big
so.
trade, that would have been fair. The Texans would leak that. For sure they would. And
They
that
got to
would-
tell their
public
fans
opinion-
that someone offered us
opinion
5
at that
picks
point-
and a player.
all I'm saying
You
is
might at
that
that
all
point
the
get public
leverage,
opinion.
at least, especially public opinion, who gives a shit? I don't think Watson cares about public opinion.
You're right. Once you go down this route, you're kind of like you're throwing a flamethrower
And-
to levels of public opinion.
and-
I agree.
3 days after the trade happens, no one's going to care anymore.
Win your first 2 games, no one ever gives a shit.
Yeah,
Like,
win, win, and it will solve all the problems.
I agree. The Texans have this asset. I cannot believe they should have to force to sell it for less than anything than 100% on the dollar.
But they're going to.
Then I think they might let them rot.
I don't think they have the guts.
I think they've got way more guts than you think.
I don't think they have any.
I don't think
I think if the dad was still in charge, maybe.
Guess what? There's only one. There's not. You know who had leverage? Elijah Manning had leverage. Because if you draft a player first overall and he doesn't sign 1 year to the date of the draft, he goes back in the draft. And you had to believe every word he said because he's the son of Arch. That's called leverage. I don't see that leverage here.
It's not the same amount of leverage for sure. But at the same time, if you're the Texans, you have what is their pick in this draft? Oh yeah, they gave it away to Miami. If they had the number 3 pick or the number 5 pick, and you could draft your quarterback right now, then you can tell Watson to go fuck himself. But you can't because you don't have any fucking capital.
Sign Jameis for nothing. I don't know.
Maybe that's what they end up doing, and then push Watson to the side
And win more than 4 games.
But do you really think that it's going to be super acceptable for them when fans are allowed back in the stadium to try to get all this revenue back up that they lost? That you're running out an 0-16 team? That's not great with a star quarterback sitting right there that you could trade for pieces to help your team. It's only going to look bad on
I
them.
watched
They will cave.
that press conference.
They will cave.
It was 35 minutes with a new coach with this controversy.
Which was like, who are you?
Which was literally like they must have not allowed 80 questions because just for a point of comparison, the Chargers went 90 minutes and no one cares about us and we don't have controversy. It was incredibly awkward, but what I took from it, and maybe it's just the public stance that Houston has to take, is we're going to dig in here. He ain't going anywhere. And maybe that's part of selling to other teams to get the, what you need, or to make Watson think that maybe they are going to play hardball. But I hate that Tim's laying a marker on it. But
No, he's now planting a
not
flag.
laying a marker. I'm planting a flag.
But that's like
the same
double edged
thing.
because
Yeah.
he wants what he's just
Yeah,
trying
he
to
wants
work-
Watson. He's trying to curse
He's trying
Watson
to
to the
admit
Jets.
that he has powers essentially when he does that.
I honestly, after that press conference, I came away convinced, and Pat will stipulate. We said this in our group chats. I kind of don't think they're going to trade him now.
Yeah, but that's all a part of your curse to get him to go to the Jets. That we see right through you.
Well, but you know what? If they don't trade him by April, then the Jets are going to pick a quarterback with the second pick, and all this leverage goes away.
That's an interesting point.
And then-
What happens if we cross draft day?
Because then Miami's just sitting there being like, we still got picks.
And so
What
the
picks do
Jets
they
have all
have?
the same picks that
They'll have the picks next year. They still have Houston's
So
pick to
will
give
the
up.
Jets?
I guess so.
So-
But
the
it
Jets
won't.
have
But they
Seattle's
won't be
pick.
second or third overall.
That's true.
Exactly. Then they're big old question marks. So if the Texans want to play real hardball and we pass the draft, the Jets and Dolphins can't
Then
play
it comes
a
to
game
the
if we get a
summer
win.
and he's traded to Detroit because
No.
they have a high pick and a need at quarterback.
No, but it actually works out better for Miami because either Miami trades for Watson or they're not picking a quarterback. So they would still
Correct.
have the need for Watson. If the Jets at number 2
Can make the pick
take
and make the trade
Fields,
after.
maybe they make the pick and trade it
Like
after.
an NBA, we draft and then trade.
Or that so rarely happens.
It doesn't happen.
But if they make their stand like, hey, we're taking this guy at number 2, he's our quarterback of the future, they're probably out of the Watson market. They shouldn't.
Totally.
They shouldn't be, but they probably are. Where
no,
Miami is still sitting there. They draft whoever at number 3. They're like, yeah, we're rolling with Tua. Why don't you give us a call? We'll give you our next 3 first-round
So here's
picks.
the thing. I'm actually starting to believe this doesn't get done by draft day, which to me then puts more leverage in Camp Houston.
What is the bet for Watson to be on the Texans week 1? So I can see that happening.
Even money.
He was like minus 160 to be a Texan before he like tweeted or came out that he like wants out. To be on the Texans or play for the Texans?
To be on the Texans.
I think it's got to be even money. Maybe a little better.
I'd say it's probably like 65% he's on the Texans by week 1. Not saying he's
see it.
playing, but he's on the Texans. He might be.
Yeah,
playing.
he's
Because listen, 2 or 3 things go right with a promise here, a promise there. Hey, why don't you shut the fuck up and we'll give you part equity in the team or something like that. Then all of a sudden everything's resolved.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Here's like 1% of this oil company that like the Cal the McNair's own or something. Sure, I don't know, man. But this Cal is like fat guy in a little coat.
He's Tommy Boy.
Like it is so. And they've been a very stable, competitive franchise. Like
Because they've had good players.
Nothing about them has that like Browns, Lions, Chargers, like
Bills.
stank.
Yeah, they don't have loser stink on.
Of like stank that like things will always work against us. So it's so weird how this happened fast. But he took that money as the arrow was pointing down on everything happening there. Hopkins has already been traded. O'Brien was currently the GM and coach. And Cal McNair was no secret what people in the know thought about the long-term ownership prospects since Mr. McNair passed. So to me, he's a little bit responsible for the fate he's in. Congratulations, you got your no trade clause.
Sure, but if you're a superstar, it's a bit different than being Vincent Jackson.
100%.
But Carson Palmer was a great player, and he had to miss 7 games before he got traded to the Raiders or whatever it was.
Yeah, and they got 2 first-round picks
just
in the
said,
second
we're not-
for him.
They got 2 first, and this was Palmer
Two
like...
first.
And that
Palmer
was
was
like
like 6 years after where Watson is today, though, right?
yeah, well,
But
Jamal
Palmer's
Adams
still
just
an
got 2
excellent
firsts.
quarterback. Yeah, Jamal Adams just went for 2 firsts. Like 2 firsts is
Listen,
the table stakes. The table stakes of the discussion is 3 first rounders.
I would agree with that. I mean, the Bills just gave him a first round.
It's 3 first rounders and Quentin Williams.
Yeah.
And like a second. Like,
and you might need to take a back.
I'm not so sure that's a good trade. I'm really not sure at that point if that's a good trade.
a week ago,
If-
he was
if
like,
it
I'll give
includes the second
anything.
overall.
Anything. Now we just said
Yeah,
3
but you know
firsts and
what?
Quentin Williams, and you got cold
Yeah,
feet.
but you know what?
Uh-oh.
Hindsight allows a person to think things through a little bit more. And I don't know. I mean, there is a limit at which you say, you know what, Watson's just not worth that.
Why?
The
The Jets have all the cap space, Tim. Imagine the team.
Tim,
you can
guess
build
what?
around him.
As I've said to you a few times, I think your ownership group has a Rams type stomach for what's about to happen.
We'll see, but the Texans have to be willing to play ball too. And I'm disinclined to think that the Texans want to play ball. I actually think they think we can never win a trade by trading away a quarterback that good. We're just going to keep him. He's not going to not want to play forever. He'll come around, and that's just how it's going to be. And it's a staring contest, and I think that he'll blink first. I think that's what the Texans think.
The Texans are like the big
And they're
guys.
and to
in
be
the-
fair,
the
they're
hedge
probably
funds
right.
in the GameStop.
The
and
Texans
Watson
can afford to
is
wait
all
longer.
you.
I
And
mean,
who's going to blink first?
Texans
the guy who
can wait
owns
longer.
the team, who's a billionaire.
Exactly. Houston has a
or this
lot more
guy.
tolerance. The Texans
But
have a
I
lot
bet
more
you
tolerance
public
for pain.
sentiment in Houston might be like, no, do everything you can to save this relationship. Don't trade him by draft day.
I
Like,
believe it.
Beg him. Like, do everything.
Don't get rid of him.
I want to do a quarterback ranking show with you guys coming up. I think that's one show the 3 of us can do together. But just off the top of your head, right now, maybe we have to factor in like the longevity of the player at the same time and how that factors in. But like, where does Watson rank amongst quarterbacks? Because if it was just a 1-year thing, he wouldn't be top 5.
No.
But if you're projecting it long term, like whose career do you want from right now? If you were just fantasy drafting a team with all the
He's
available
top 3.
quarterbacks.
He's in 2 or 3 after Mahomes from today on.
So it's Mahomes. That's very clear.
Yeah.
And then who's the rest? Like, would you rather have Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson?
I would want the real thing rather than the thing I haven't seen yet. And that's just, I would always say that.
But you
I
would
don't
have the
know how good
extra
Trevor.
6 years with Lawrence,
But I don't know what I'm getting for sure.
and
I know what
and
I'm
you get
getting.
a good contract for 5 of those years.
I'm a little more. My conservatism makes me want to take.
We're
Watson.
talking contract too.
Like, if we're gonna not just play what's next year, because if it was next year, I'd rather have Brady than have Watson.
And I'd rather have Rodgers.
I'd rather have Rodgers. I'd rather have Russell Wilson. But those guys are getting older. Obviously, I wouldn't want them long term. But I'd want them for give me one game to win a game next year. I'd want those guys.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So someone like Lawrence, if we're going to factor in the longevity of the player, the contract situation that ends up coming through, it's why I don't think the Jags will trade number 1 for Watson.
Oh, I wouldn't. Well, but that trade's not available. The Texans and Jags are never making a trade.
You see, you do not know that for
They
one
wouldn't.
thing.
I'm telling you, that's never going to happen. You're never trading a top tier quarterback ever to a divisional rival. It's just not
I
happening.
think you guys really overrate that.
Nope.
Stuff.
I don't think overrated at all.
You play them
partially
twice a
teams don't
year.
it's more embarrassing to trade a player and then have him win the division you're in for 8 years.
It's just not
you
happening.
don't
I don't.
We're gonna get rid of you. You go somewhere else. Go to the National League.
We'll trade you in division if we think you're done. Like Belichick's fine with Bledsoe going to the Bills because he doesn't think Bledsoe has a whole lot left.
That was him just being we know you guys won't beat us anyway. Here, take
And
it.
well, that's it. First game, they beat them 34-0.
We'll be really nice to Bledsoe, and I think that was a first. The Bills had
week 1, and then they lost by the same score in week 17 to miss the playoffs.
Yeah. So the point being that I don't think that trade is on the table, but I would still rather Watson. A bird in the hand is always better than 2 in the bush.
I think and I don't know, you could be right. And what would you set the line at, Geoff, of career going better, Watson or Lawrence? Watson's obviously the favorite because we know what his career is doing and how good that he is in the NFL. But what would you say is the actual line? Who has the better career? Watson minus 125?
Yeah. Can I? Never
Yes.
mind. I don't want to do this.
Wait, were you going to say, where does Herbert fall in here?
I was going to say, I guarantee you on a trade market, you might laugh at this. Justin Herbert, if traded today, would probably bring in this much less than DeShaun Watson.
Yeah.
Oh, I would agree.
I can see
He's
somewhere
he's
around
played
there.
1 season. I could see it.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if Watson was traded today and Herbert was traded tomorrow, the return on Herbert would probably be this much less than what they got for Watson.
I think it would be, I don't want to say significantly less, but where it is just 1 year worth of anything. And it's not
but it's 1 year, but you still have the cheaper contracts. You're like,
no,
that
I
part of
understand.
it
I'm not
makes
saying
it worth the gamble of will this 1 year continue?
yes, absolutely. And would you rather, who would fetch more right now? Justin Herbert or the number 1 pick?
Number 1 pick.
Probably. So would Burrow still get more than Herbert? This is why I want to do the top 10 show.
Yeah, this sounds
No,
fun.
because Burrow just destroyed his knee.
Yeah,
And
but
that
who
was-
doesn't come back from the knee? This isn't 1974.
Yeah, modern medicine, the ACL is literally like a broken finger.
No, we
It
went
feels
through
like.
this, and we had examples of guys who never really truly came back.
Okay, hit me with one.
I just lost him.
Trying to think, there was a great RG3 never was the same again after he destroyed his knee.
Yes, you are correct.
Never ever.
RG3 was never the same. That was over 10 years ago, and he was a primarily running quarterback.
Alex Smith.
It wasn't.
Alex Smith just came back and was basically still Alex Smith.
but he couldn't run anymore.
No, but he's still a year
Hold
out.
His
on.
from
wasn't
him.
a knee injury.
He didn't tear his
wasn't a knee
ACL.
injury.
He had his life threat.
His
Those
leg
are
was
two
fractured.
different injuries.
I would say that if Willis McGahee was able to go to the NFL and be a productive running back, that anyone can come back from an ACL.
But
injury.
that other guy didn't. That Lattimore. who
No,
we
that's
all
true. But
loved
he
and-
destroyed every single part of. He had basically the Alex Smith, except the surgery didn't go horribly wrong when they did. But run of the mill ACL surgery,
It's literally.
it's like getting Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, it's a
maybe 1 in 100 it doesn't work out, but primarily
No,
you come back
modern
strong.
medicine has perfected the ACL surgery.
Yeah, if you have to go,
Well, I hope so
deep-
because he's on my keeper team. So I hope he's good.
If you have to deep, you give fucking Mahomes from you moron. If you have to go deep searching for the outlier of this situation, then it's probably going to be okay for the guy who has the injury. We're even seeing foot injuries and Achilles injuries in the NBA be okay at this point. And that used to be career over.
Yeah.
Any other football stuff we want to do? We want to save it.
I would like to say I think Aaron Rodgers is 100% enjoying, even for a small period, making the front office of Green Bay sweat.
Absolutely.
He's
I think that's what
he
did
loves
this.
it. And he knew all year as he was having this great year, win or lose the Super Bowl, I'm going to make those fuckers sweat. I'm going to make
I agree
them
with you
fucking
completely.
sweat.
And they should. In the biggest moment of his MVP season, they took the ball out of his hands. He has every right to say what he
I was
wants
talking
about
about the
them in
draft.
public.
I think he's still upset.
And the draft pick, well, yeah, there's that too. That they didn't draft anybody to help him, and he still won MVP, or will have one MVP after Saturday. And in the biggest moments of the season, they took the ball out of his hands. He absolutely should be just absolutely rattling their cage to make them feel uncomfortable, because they should be.
He's doing it.
Because they haven't treated him
Even if he
correctly.
knows he's going to be back there, he's intentionally rattling cages.
Absolutely.
People
And
should
he
be
should- so should-
uncomfortable right now
He's
after
exactly
what
the type
you
of guy
did
who
to
would
me.
like that, and he has the opportunity to do it. And so, yeah, go do it.
What do you think they could get for Jordan Love?
Less than they drafted him for. So, like a second rounder.
Pat, I saw mocks. Radcliffe put it out. Some great mocks. Not only do we have Lawrence and Fields and Wilson, we have Trey Lance, who didn't even play last year because he's D2 North Dakota, and he had Mac Jones going 9 to Denver. So I have no doubts. they would
Somebody
get
is
what-
going to draft
they
Mac
would
Jones
recoup that and a
way
little more
too
for Love.
early. And Mac Jones is going to be awful. He'll be like Jake Locker 2.0.
Mac
Like,
Jones,
plant a flag on that.
rookie
Mac Jones will be
of
drafted.
the year future.
Just serious. I'm
Make
planting
note
a
of that
flag on
right
it
now.
I'll plant a flag on it.
Can you
right
stop
now.
saying
Mac
fucking
Jones-
plant a flag? Just quit being a bitch and say you're laying down markers.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but you're being a bitch. Quit being a bitch.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. That's clearly what you're doing.
No, I'm not. Anyway, Mac Jones is not that good. I thought throughout the college season, I thought his receivers turned him into a better player than he was. His receiver, not him, won the Heisman. I don't know. I suspect that somebody will in the top 10 draft him, and he will be, like I said, he'll be Blaine Gabbert. He will be EJ Manuel. He will be, one of those guys drafted in the low end of the top 10 who just never really becomes the QB of the future. I feel very confident about it.
So this is going to be fun. Are the Patriots now going to take him? And now he's going to be the greatest quarterback
Honestly,
for
I
like
don't-
25 years? Is this how this shapes out?
People
I
think the
expect him to be
Patriots could
drafted
be in
before
on
New
that
England
for sure.
to make a pick.
Paul, you were going to say?
I wanted to know how he would rank his quarterback outcomes here. So we got Deshaun Watson, we've got Justin Fields,
Wilson.
and Zach Wilson, and then
Mac
sticking
Jones
with
off the
Sam as number 4 option. So
No,
rank
Mac
those-
Jones is an option. They don't
Mac
take
Jones isn't
with the
an
second
option
first
at
rounder.
that spot.
They take a player at 2 and then get in on Mac Jones in the 20s.
Oh, that would be funny. That would be great for the program. But yeah, so Deshaun Watson, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Smiling Sam. Let's hear it. Well, who would you like the most? Who would you like the least? What scenario do you want the most?
It would
What
be
do you
in
want
that
the
order,
least?
except flip the last two. I would rather keep Sam than go after Zach Wilson.
So give us your order. List them off.
Getting Watson first, and then Fields second. But you could call them 1A, 1B if you wanted. Keeping Sam and building around him and taking like Devonta Smith with the second pick. And then the last one would be Wilson. But I wouldn't be furious with any of those outcomes. Any of them would be fun because I trust Joe Douglas 100% to make the right decision. I think he's one of the 5 or 6 best GMs in football. He will make a great decision whenever he does. He has my full faith. I am not going to question him. Whatever he does, I am going to be a good soldier and follow as he leads.
That's just what see, we're losers, Tim. We do just what these teams want.
They can do no wrong.
Whatever they do.
I'm on board.
I agree. Listen, I'm a sucker like that also when it comes down to it, I'm just going to have to be a team guy.
So you heard it when he just said it. Watson and Fields 1A, 1B. So when they don't
think
get
Fields could be
Fields,
really
and he goes to the Patriots or something, he's gonna suck so badly.
No,
We're gonna hear it.
Listen,
We're
I've said
hear
enough
it from
about
you
Fields.
all the time.
I've said enough about Fields that I can't back. And I think he could be a very, very special player.
Tim
and in the
watched one
circumstances,
game,
we
and now
take-
Fields is like that much better
He
than
didn't even
Wilson.
watch the entire game. He just tuned into some YouTube highlights later. This guy's pretty
telling
good.
you,
Jets might
I
get
could
him.
be-
Super Bowl.
he was destroying, well, not destroying, but he was beating Clemson last year in the semifinals before he got hurt. I think that he could be very special. And if we're taking him second overall, it means we still have all of our picks to make other improvements on the team. And so I think that would be fine. I wouldn't upset me. We got Watson, great. As long as we didn't pay like 4 first rounders, I think I would bristle at that. As happy I'd be to have Watson. If we keep Sam, then great. That means we probably take Devonta Smith at the 2nd pick overall. Well, that guy could be. Imagine putting him together with Sam and giving Sam an actual opportunity to develop with Mims.
You
and
just
Smith
called
together.
their receiving core top 3 in football last year.
Well, while that was obviously boneheaded and wrong, they could begin to build something with the Heisman Trophy winner on one side and an all-time great college receiver on another. That could be, and competent coaches, that could be special. And then if it's Wilson, I mean, I like him the least, but if Douglas likes him enough to take him at 2, like, then whither he leads, I shall follow. And I'll
you
just
still have Darnold. Does that mean like he goes to like right guard because of his size now? If you take a quarterback, is that where he transitions to?
I wouldn't be surprised in those circumstances if Sam starts and that guy is the backup.
I would say there's probably no chance of that happening unless the guy's hurt that they take. You're not drafting a guy
No, I don't know.
at 2 and be like, no, Darnold's still starting. Come on.
I don't know. I don't know.
Darnold can like maybe cut him in on his caramel that he's pounding on the sidelines, but that's probably about all
I really
Darnold's
hope
gonna be
wherever
doing.
Sam goes, he's really good. He will have my full support.
What if it's the
wherever he goes.
Patriots?
I'll cheer for Sam. I hope they lose every game 39-36.
Last thing. Do you think it's funny that after going
When
back,
Sam's on the Patriots, he's going to railroad him.
well, I'll jump on the Sam Darnold bandwagon,
Yeah.
and that'll be
Tim
fun.
is going to railroad him so hard, like leading up to that game.
I hate nothing more than I hate the Patriots. Nothing. And yes, it would be incredibly difficult to like the player. It was like when they had Darrelle Revis for that year. I love Darrell, but I hated he was on the Patriots. Or when they had Richard Seymour, who was one of my favorite players ever, but he played for the Patriots. It's like, this is really tough. But
So as we see what happens going out through the course of the coaching decisions made in the playoffs so far, do you think it's strange that these like super high T macho guys are really scared to go for it and make aggressive moves on 4th down, where the super nerdy guys are the ones who want to be aggressive and actually go for it? The general low T type guys. The guys are all fucking bluster. Mike Vrabel, I'll cut my dick off. Oh, I can't go for it on 4th down. Like, why are they such cowards? I don't get it.
I don't know.
And why are they math nerds? The guys who are like, yeah, fucking go for it. Why are they the ones with the balls? I think something's thrown off here. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Football
don't
guy
know.
still is afraid to make like.
Why
the
is football guys
non-football
so
guy.
scared?
But the sad thing is, Vrabel, LaFleur,
They're known as like smarter
yeah,
guys.
they're guys that, like, I'd like to have them as their coach. So it scares. It
But
scares
Ron
you to
Rivera
know
is
that,
a
like, you might have
macho
coach
guy,
you
and he
really
goes
like
for it
and
all the
trust.
time.
And then you
Like
get
Ron
in that
Rivera was on the
ultimate
85
spot,
Bears.
and it's like they revert back to like a Bill Parcells mentality, which worked. Not today.
I just find it odd that they seem so scared to be called out for going for it, when realistically you are going to get way more heat.
Nerd guy knows the data and is smart enough to know, no, this is like what I should do. Even if you think I'm wrong, empirical evidence says I am right.
But just throwing it all of the evidence out the window, all the percentages out the window. In what world do you not try to win the game, but you want to punt? What world is that?
Smart guy is prepared to answer a tough question after the game. Well, Vrabel's like, I don't know, I did like football guy thing. I don't know.
Like we punted 30 years ago, so we're punting now. It just seems so crazy.
And
then you got Andy Reid being like, yeah, we'll go for it on 4th down with Chad Henne.
Like I said, it's sad. Some of these coaches, they just want to be down 10 with 4 minutes left to like stay in the game, as opposed to making an effort to win or lose that game way earlier in a contest.
Or someone like Sean McDermott, who we both think is an awesome coach. And maybe they had no faith in the offense at that point, but kicking that field goal before the half, being like, we want to build some momentum.
It was like, oh, we can't go to the locker room deflated. Like we can't.
You
come
are
out of this with
deflated.
nothing.
Unless you score a touchdown, you're going to be fucking deflated.
But to my point earlier, Sean McDermott had to be prepared to potentially lose that game as he walked into the locker room in halftime. But he played to be down 2 scores with 6 minutes left. That was the play.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough.
It just,
I mean, there are, like I said, there are exceptions that prove the rule. I mean, I think Frank Wright and I mentioned Ron Rivera are both sort of like macho guys who also go for it a lot. So it's not always. I mean, Frank Reich was willing to lose that playoff game against the Bills and did because he went for some big spots. Now,
He also
whatever, he
wasted
should
a
have gone for
timeout
it.
that
That's
really
fine.
cost them. Really
But
cost them.
like so it does.
But no one killed Frank Reich for them not getting those 4th downs.
Yes, they did. Jeff and I both came on here and killed him for going for that touchdown when we both thought he actually probably should
Well, I
have
had
kicked
+7.
at
I
the
just
very
wanted
end of the
3
half.
points.
Yeah, bit of a difference there. But Frank Reich did not get killed for going for it, like LaFleur or Vrabel got killed for everything that they did.
It killed LaFleur.
Although,
it killed,
wasn't
it
there an
killed
analysis that showed
sorry, Tim.
That,
It killed
that LaFleur's decision was correct.
Reich
Wasn't there an
because they
analysis
didn't
that
get
showed-
it, and then Allen went 95 yards, and they had to
Yeah.
stop them for a field goal, and Buddy goes offside. They get another 1st down, and then it's a touchdown. So it's a quadruple whammy. The Colts
I thought
could
I
have
saw
suffered-
somewhere-
could have withstood not getting those points. They couldn't withstand not getting them, and then seeing Buffalo get the break down the field.
Yeah, I thought I saw somewhere that actually the numbers supported what LaFleur did, even though it seems insane. I thought I'd seen some smart guys on Twitter say, actually, our numbers say either that increased their chances of winning or it didn't have any effect on their chance of winning. And it was old school football people who said they should be going for this. I don't know any single like old school play it safe person who came out and said at that time, LaFleur's making a good call.
Again, I don't think this has to do anything with analytics. It would be let's try to win instead of let's not try to lose.
Right, but I don't think I think the old school coaches all would have gone for it in Green Bay's spot. I think LaFleur did something very, very unusual. Like John Gruden would have gone there.
I think you go for it there. You play to win.
I
the
think
game.
so too,
You can
but I
listen
think
to
the
Herm.
numbers actually said you shouldn't.
I think it was
even though
I didn't see the coin flip. I would guess in that circumstance, if you're saying that you saw something that was close, it was no bigger than a coin flip.
Yeah, it was like a 2 or 3% advantage to kicking the field goal or something, which I didn't. But at the same time, I would still go for it because I think it's the right move to go for it there. Because you have Rodgers and you put the game in his hands.
You don't want Rodgers mad at you, which he is right now.
When the season is on, that's why we go back to the Super Bowl. When the season's on the line, I think that Arians will let Tom Brady on a 4th and 4 have the ball rather than punt and play to the defense. I think that, in big spots, you should put your whole season on the line in the hands of the guy who got you there. And I think part of the reason that they're there is because of Tom. So anyway, that's the way I look at it.
All right, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. We'll be back together. We'll do this coaches. We'll do the quarterback rankings, win total recaps. There's going to be plenty. You can catch Jeff and I every Monday talking golf anyway. We'll mix in Tim from time to time. So I'd like to thank Paul Shaughnessy behind the camera. Also, Tim Andergust.
Tim Andergust.
That's not my name. Did the coin make a pick on the Super Bowl?
Oh, no. I should probably do that, shouldn't I? It's funny that you're big up in the coin.
Well, I just want to make sure that I get one more up on the coin. I did pick this Super Bowl correctly, after all.
Plug Tim back in here. So who'd you say was the home team? Tampa is the home team?
Tampa's the home team.
The NFC is the home, so heads is home. Tails is away. The coin picks. The away team, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Good. The coin doesn't even watch the game, so.
I mean, you beat it by 1 game in spread picks this year.
There's a big difference between winning by 1 and winning by none.
Congratulations, you beat the coin.
Thank you. This has been fun, guys. Another great year.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Huge support for the show this year. A lot of support.
Yes. Thank you very much again, everyone who had the kind words.
Stop thanking the people who watch. You're going to curse them to death, and we'll have no viewers.
Now, go smash that like button so hard that you've never liked it harder before.
You're going to get dislikes now.
Yeah, everyone's going to dislike, and I'm going to be canceled somehow because of Tim.
5-star ratings.
Yeah,
smash the like button.
Yeah, daily fantasy sports picks and bets, the mix. Go subscribe to it on Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review and leave your Twitter handle or email address. $100 giveaways coming up for that. Plus, I expect those shows to be good. Geoff Fienberg at GFienberg17. Catch him every Monday with me on the Golf Pick Show and the Geoff Fienberg Show every Wednesday and Friday on FTNDaily.com. Paul, you had something to say?
I just wanted to plant a flag that there is zero chance that if Sam Darnold went to the New England Patriots, that Tim would do anything except for be seething with rage. That's it.
and tear Sam down and his entire career as a Jet.
Oh yeah,
He was
No,
horrible.
I'm sorry,
I,
can't-
never liked him.
he infiltrated us. He was working with the Patriots all along. That's why we were so bad.
Good riddance.
You
That
give
guy
me
was
too little
garbage.
credit.
We could
I
hardly
could-
even win
I-
any games with that loser.
I could
That's
never do
that's
that.
what would happen. You know it.
Like Macbeth said, I am so far in blood stepped in that I can't turn around. Like I'm halfway. I'm pot committed there. I can't play that even if I wanted to.
I did want to give a special shout out to anyone who tuned into our Stonks show with Davis and I last Friday about GameStop and cryptocurrency. A special shout out to Brad, who sent me this like entire report on items to correct Davis about. I had so many people reach out to me of the show. Like, I straight up went like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Can someone explain this to me? It was a good thing I did, because enough smart people, and Davis admitted he didn't know what the fuck was going on either, but he was just giving his like retelling of what he can figure out is going on. I highly recommend. It was a fun show to talk about just because I wanted to talk about it. But shout out to Brad on the 100-word summary of what happened. I just want to read this to you because he made it quick and brief. A group of aware retail investors saw a low-price stock with a massive amount of short interest and grouped together to buy shares in a coordinate effort to force the short sellers to either cover their shorts or dig in their heels. This practice is called a short squeeze and has happened many times before. Volkswagen became the largest stock in the world one day due to a short squeeze. The fact that many hedge funds and other sold options also betting on the stock dropping caused a gamma squeeze where the impact was even higher as the shares rose. There's the 100-word summary of what happened. Of everyone who sent me summaries, they all said kind of the same thing. This one was the best articulated. So thank you, Brad, for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's not that Brad. That Brad can't go outside in the rain because he doesn't close his mouth and he might drown. He just sits there like this.
That's not
fucking
very nice.
trout-faced. Trout-faced
That's
fuck.
not very. That's not very.
No one makes me angrier than that fucking guy.
That's not true.
No, that's actually true. Everyone else in my life that makes me that mad, I have disassociated with and forgot about. He still remains a part of my life. And he's one of my friends, but he fucking makes me mad.
That was a good summary. Whoever wrote that was good work, Brad. Whomever.
There's
good work.
There's also one more note that just says, "Hey, tell Tim he's Cust."
Yeah, well, I'm not. So you lose, son. You're a Cust.
You can't call people son. You commented the other day that a young woman in her 50s commented on your son hat.
She was a younger woman in her 50s.
What the fuck does that
wasn't a
mean?
senior-
What do you mean there's
She
a
wasn't a
young
senior-
woman in...
Well, she wasn't a senior citizen. You could be a younger person in your early 50s.
No, you can't be a young person in your 50s.
Honestly, you can be a younger
I'm
person
sorry.
in your 60s, too.
Like,
I think you
said
can.
I went to the senior center and a young, like, I don't know.
Like, to
Are
me,
you saying that she was hot?
I'm
Is that what
saying
you're
that she's a
that she
young...
was like 50, but you're like,
Like, unless you're
okay.
like the youngest woman in my Aqua Fit class.
Well, see, now they were all elderly. There wasn't a younger person in that.
There's no young 50-year-olds.
Oh, yes, there
No,
are.
there aren't.
Yes,
Like,
there
you can be
are.
an old young person, like you being 32. You seem like you're 97.
That you can certainly be, even in your 60s, you can be a younger
What the
person.
fuck are you talking about?
You're not a senior citizen. Like, you could be 62. You're not a senior. You're young looking. You live an active young life. That's I wouldn't call that person a kid, but that's a young person. They just are.
What are you basing on, like, active life? Like, more active than you? Like, that's very achievable when you're, like, 94.
I have
So
a
is
very
this what we're
active
going
life.
with as the barometer of what's young? Because age would say you're not.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to say that somebody in their 60s is necessarily old. I don't think that's true.
I will say it. You're in your 60s, you're old.
Yeah, well, we'll see what you say 30 years from now.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
I
be
think you'll
old.
agree.
I
Ah.
already feel old. I can't imagine. I'm probably not even going to live to 60. That's how old 60 is.
I mean, I feel like I will feel old at 62, and I am jealous of the people who I know will be 60 and feel great. I had to shovel snow last week, and I was stiff for 3 days.
I forgot about this.
Just like I was, like, I wouldn't say chair ridden, but like I was stiff for 3 days.
It's really pathetic. And then he compared his time of shoveling the driveway to his grandmother's time, who also shoveled her driveway. How old
Well,
is
she
your
took
grandma?
3 hours.
Yeah.
I did it. In
Yeah, she took 3 hours.
It took 3 hours. I only did it in
You
2.
are so weird.
How old is your grandma?
79.
So your barometer to compare your snow shoveling skills to your 79-year-old grandmother and you're in your early 30s.
Well, my point was I wasn't slow for taking 2 hours to shovel the driveway.
Your driveway's not that big. That is so ridiculous. That is so slow. He also told me he stopped for a tea break halfway through.
I stopped for multiple tea breaks. I have this big thermos that I fill with tea, and I'll stop. It's good for your heart to stop every 30, 20 minutes or so.
It's good for your heart so it doesn't fucking explode, sure. The rest of us, it wouldn't take half an hour to shovel your fucking driveway.
Well, it's the driveway, and plus I have a wraparound deck, so I shovel that as well. And I take my breaks, and I pour my tea, and I have a break and relax, and then go back to it. Because shoveling, particularly heavy snow, can be very strenuous. And that's a good lesson for people to know. Is that if you're shoveling a lot of snow, take your time, take lots of breaks, shovel forward, never to the side, because it can be very, very strenuous.
You're taking shoveling tips from a guy who just took 2 hours to shovel his small driveway.
It's not
and then couldn't move for 3 days.
Well, I was stiff. No doubt I didn't do an adequate amount of stretching before. I admit that. But yeah, it was thick and stiff, and I should have taken more breaks. I regret not taking more breaks.
Yeah, nothing was going to save you. Once you shoveled the first bit of snow, the lactic acid just took over. There was no amount of breaks that could have really kicked in on that one. I don't know. Your driveway is not big whatsoever.
It's reasonably big,
and it's all downhill like this. If you start at the top, you're looking good.
Yeah, but it's shaped in a weird way that you can't just push it all the way down.
You mean down?
No, it's not quite shaped to allow for that. And so it's a little trickier than you think it is. And there are rocks that don't allow for you to just shove it over. Anyway, you have to sort of think your way through it. It's
Let me ask you this. How long does it take your dad to shovel the driveway?
He knows how to use a snowblower, so it doesn't take him long.
Why don't you have a fucking snowblower?
I don't know how to start it. It terrifies me. I see it and I'm afraid I'm going to slip and get caught in it and lose a limb. And I get nervous just looking at it.
You're an
and
adult.
So no, thank you.
He's a young 32.
Yeah, you are a young 32.
I've just been laughing for 5 minutes. There's nothing I can say.
That thing makes me anxious, and I don't want to go near it. I don't want to make a mistake.
Why didn't you get your dad to start it for you like he does the barbecue?
There are days where there's no one around. It's just me. In this situation, it's
My
just
back hurts now.
Why can't you call one of our friends to come over to start it for you?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Why?
It's actually good exercise to grab the shovel.
Yeah, it sounds great. It took you 2 hours to shovel a small driveway, and then you were laid up for 3 days.
And a whole wraparound deck.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Your massive deck.
Yeah, it took time. And that's a darn good exercise, but I could barely walk later on that night. And the next day it was stiff. I didn't use a cane because I don't have one, but I was using things like they were a cane.
Well, oh my God, you were using a cane. So
no, I wasn't using a cane because I don't have a cane.
I guess we can end with this question. What made you stiffer? Shoveling the driveway or the young 50-year-old at the golf course?
She was a young young person in their 50s. People know what I mean when they say a younger 50-year-old versus someone in their 50s that looks much older.
When I tweeted that out, the only commentary I got back was, lol, young 50-year-old. It was the only comment underneath of it.
Okay, well, I'm right.
You're not.
I'm just right.
You're not.
And
you're out there having
she
stiffies
said
for
lovely
everything.
things about my sun hat.
Sure, she
Just
did.
really cool.
Anyway, that will do it for us. Thank you for watching the season finale of the Pat Mayo Experience of this crew. We'll be back probably next week to break down
Not Pat Mayo's boat.
breaking down the quarterbacks. We're going to review everything. So continue to watch and subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience podcast and video. If you're looking for the Cam Stewart DFS menu, I'm going to throw that on the back end of this pod. Yes, Paul.
Breaking. Well, actually, it was 20 minutes ago. Did you mention this? DeMarcus Robinson, COVID-19.
That's bad news for my first. Probably not going to bet him then. Oh, Pringle first touchdown.
I missed that, but it's up there now.
So no DeMarcus Robinson?
Him and center Daniel Kilgore are on the reserve list. COVID-19.
Does that mean they can still play? If they're on the reserve list, does that mean
if they keep testing negative, both should play in the Super Bowl?
Okay, interesting. So
but they tested positive.
Yeah, if they're tested positive, obviously they're not playing. Good breaking news.
Then go with Watkins. He's like the Lay Stacks to Pringle. He's better.
Yeah, but he's like 18 to 1. Pringle's like 50 to 1.
Yeah. Okay.
This is just like Tim wanting to bet minus money on a coin flip.
But who cares if it wins?
Because you can make the same bet for no juice and win more?
Yeah, but that's not the official coin.
Tim's like nickname should be no bet.
Yeah, Tim's not even going to
doesn't
bet this. Yeah. Gives out betting advice. We talked about skin in the game. Tim's the guy with no skin in the game.
I will bet every one of these props with my friends. Every single one of them.
Well, you bet one of those props with your friends. You're not paying the fucking minus vig that you're giving out now, are you?
Correct.
So you wouldn't
But I
make
would-
that bet.
Sure, I would.
No, you
Listen.
have it available to you to make that bet. Why don't
I told
you?
the people it will win, so they should go ahead and follow or don't follow it. Do whatever you do with my advice. There are people who always follow my advice, and there are people who always go the opposite of my advice, and there are people who follow it sometimes and not others. So go with God and do what it is that you think you need to do. I'm not hurt either way.
If you're an audio listener to the show, stay tuned because me and Cam Stewart are coming up next. If not, you want to check out the DFS menu video, which I highly suggest you do. It's a lot of laughs. I'll throw that up on the YouTube channel as a separate video later on in the week. We're going to have the full bets, full prop show later on in DraftKings Showdown, plus all the golf this week too. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
That Mayo experience! Experience!